That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go. Owers and tastemakers make us no chaser. Gets the blood flowing like a fucking pacemaker. Cut the middleman and inhale the vapors. Madman, old 10 Don Drapers. Cut the jukebox on, make the woofers blow. We gon' sit here until all them heifers go. Holler at the tens and spend a little dough. Not all them know they can buy their own drinks. That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me fuck all that shit, just let me go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, professional wrestling fans and friends of all ages, welcome to the first ever Wrestling Rundown collaboration with AlwayZ Wrestling as we bring you another unscripted, unrestricted ATW view. For those that are returning, you know what this is, for I am the Simple Man and my name is Noah Foster, here with quite a party of interesting and open wrestling fans here. Allow me to introduce today's panel. First off, I have representing Weymouth Youth Wrestling and the Wrestling Rundown at heart. Right next to me he's got quite a spirit, to say the least, which is why he's known as Lionheart, Mike Nichols. Mike, how are you this Sunday afternoon?
I am doing swell. I'm awesome. I'm really excited to be a part of this and can't wait to talk about the topics we got for tonight.
Well, I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about as we look at all things wrestling. Speaking of all things wrestling, this guy has been committed to this platform known as the Wrestling Rundown for nearly, I believe, 300 episodes now, and he is the biggest Undertaker fan you will ever meet in your life. He always rises to the occasion, and that is undisputed. Representing Adam Cole, baby, it's my pleasure to introduce the Birdman, Owen Finch. Owen, it's good to see you. It's been a long time since you and I have talked about all things wrestling. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited that I was actually able to make this work out because as of late, I've been planning videos and then they don't end up working out. So I'm glad this worked out. And I'm excited to talk about today's topics today.
And fair enough. And of course, the brainchild, the technological wizard, but he doesn't burn people as far as I know. At least not physically, maybe mentally. He's different. I'm, of course, talking about my fellow ATW colleague and commentator partner on the Jet Beach of Never Good Times, James Hebert. James, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just call me the how do you put
quintessential stud muffin, James Hebert.
No, not at all. Are you kidding me? Look at this. I look like Who Done It and Run this morning when I got out of bed. It was bad. No, but
honestly, you and Trevor Murdoch can make a good tag team.
oh boy. Oh, we'll see. I have no cardio either, to be fair.
But you're not a wrestler. You're not a wrestler.
I am not a wrestler, and I admit that. I am a CAW wrestler, which you can check out, as Noah said, on youtube.com/user/WYW Pride, along with Mike Nikos. So go check that out. There you go. My corporate plugs there done. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. As I said, and I'll say it on the air, if I'd have known that I was going to get Cairo on and I was going to get Nikos on, I would have done this as like a four-way crossover, because that's basically kind of what it is. But, you live and you learn.
Well, again, your content creation knows no bounds, as well as the opportunities you seek to expand your horizons, as you did here, as I am proud to introduce my fellow all-elite correspondent for the Daily Slam, aspiring writer, and a fellow Sonic for Life fan, the lovely Cairo Tyro. Cairo, good to see you again. How are you?
Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm doing all right. I just got some Wawa coffee here for this conversation, and I'm excited to talk to y'all. It's really great meeting y'all.
It's great meeting you all. I'm glad I was actually able to get you on for this, and now that you have that coffee, I kind of want to get myself some douche shit.
A little bit of the bubbly or something.
A little
bit
of the bubbly.
At least you're
a little bit of the caffeine for me. This is
At
like a
least you're
vanilla
getting
latte.
dew and not something to eat like you do in every one of our podcast videos, Mr. He-Man.
Hey,
Herbert.
listen. Sometimes
He's not ashamed.
What were
He's
you
not
gonna
ashamed of it either.
Yeah,
he's
I'm
not ashamed of it either.
Listen, dudes gotta eat. All right.
Yeah, I can respect that.
I think
can
there,
respect that.
I think there was a time when you could legit hear him chewing on the air, like it was bad. Like I had to tell
Okay,
him to mute
yeah,
the mic one time.
every person that's like an audio nut, including myself, probably was like screaming, "Why do you do the things you do? Why do you do them?"
Attention, and you try to be entertaining. But that being said, talk about being entertaining, keeping it real, and probably the strongest knowledge of shoes known to man worn by the Young Bucks. He is truly elite. He is all elite. He is my brother in ATW, in all things all elite wrestling too. Always a pleasure to be communicating and chatting with the King in his house, from his house. I'm of course talking about King A-Train. Anthony, good to see you. How are you?
Man, what a lovely crowd we got here. Man, it's good. It's good to talk with all of y'all here. It's gonna be exciting what the topics we got into. Maybe a little roast session here too. We talk about the E stuff. A little roast session. I
NXT
haven't planned.
2.0. I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
I got a lot to say about that.
All right, we got coughs.
Yes,
We
but
got coughs.
and
Yeah, we had to get them out.
And here I thought James was just choking on the flaming hot Mountain Dew that I just tried that I'm not drinking during this platform, but I digress.
There's a
But that
flaming
means-
hot dew. What?
It's
Yeah,
basically
it's-
the
No, you didn't know
way I
about
put
that?
it.
No.
Oh no!
I
what have you
tried
done
it. I
now?
tried it today. I tried it. Thanks, Brina. I tried it. It's not bad, but it definitely is not one of my go-tos.
Let me
That being
let me
said-
just write this down in my notes of shit to try. All right. And
Yeah.
Let's
Oh, Lord.
continue.
Fair enough. I think that's a good segue. With that being said, you guys now know the crew, so without further ado, let's get right into it. There has been a lot going on, literally, this last week in All Things Wrestling. You figure about what started it all, I have to figure about what Cairo experienced live, AEW's Double or Nothing. Back where it all began, 3 years later from Las Vegas, Nevada, this time from the T-Mobile Arena. There were definitely shocks, surprises, and moments to remember too. And I feel like a few people definitely got injured, to say the least, too. So with that being said, whoever wants to open first, give me your thoughts towards AEW's Double or Nothing. James raised his hand first, so I will allow him the floor.
I am actually going to freeball this over to Cairo because she was there live, and I'd actually like to hear the live perspective because I know on TV it sounded great. But yeah, what was it like live, Cairo?
Audience was really, really like, as always, high energy. I've been to maybe like 4 pay-per-views. So like I have experience with like the pay-per-view like audience already. So like obviously like the dedicated AEW fans are already there. So like the energy was really loud at first, especially with like MJF and Wardlow. And then kind of stayed consistent with the Young Bucks versus the Hardys, and then same thing with like the House of Black and Death Triangle. They kind of faltered like in the middle because like I know the middle of the card is kind of debatable between like a lot of people. And then like the energy got picked up again with like Anarchy in the Arena. And let me just say, if you follow me on Twitter, I've been
mean
talking about this match all week. Watching this at home is one thing. Being at the audience for this.
Yeah, I'd imagine because I will say when it was taped, obviously they didn't have the multiple cameras, which they kind of in hindsight probably should have had. But I'd imagine this was great live.
It was amazing live. Oh my gosh. And like some of the spots that I saw happen didn't even catch on camera. Like there was one spot where like I forget it was either Santana or Ortiz, but he was beating Jake Hager with like a kendo stick.
Jesus.
And apparently that wasn't caught on camera. But he was beating with a kendo stick for like 5 minutes.
Jesus.
And like it was amazing. Like it was
That
wild
would
because like we
explain
were
the
all
red marks. That would explain the red marks on his side now that I think about it. Yeah.
So like everyone was standing up. I don't think I saw a single person sit down for this. Everyone's just standing up and they're like, what's going on here? And you hear Wild Thing playing on loop, and I'm just laughing
where
so
they need
much.
to go to see who's beating up who? Because
Yeah.
people are moving all over the place with the
Oh yeah.
and the concourse.
It was like it was not only like the wrestlers who were in this match that were encouraged to be chaotic, it was also the audience too. Like kind of like the audience was like, okay, let's get wild, let's get chaotic, and wow, I've never had an experience like that before. Like it deserves all the stars.
What was it like
AEW
seeing?
being interactive.
What was it like seeing Zombie Kingston live? Because that looked like a
Oh my
scene
God.
out of The Walking Dead, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was standing like on one of the side sections that was close to the floor. So like I wasn't exactly on the floor, but I was like kind of close to it. So I had a really good view of the ring. When I see Zombie Kingston come down, as the fandom likes to call him now, I'm just like, oh my god, what happened? Where's Daniel Garcia?
Daniel, everybody thought after they saw, because I remember when I saw this, I was doing commentary on Jeff Meacham's show, and I was like looking at him, and I thought in the back of my head, I'm like, did this motherfucker murder Daniel Garcia in the fucking shaft elevator? Like,
Yeah.
did that just happen?
And I'm like, where is he? And you see him with like the gasoline can, and he walks over to the ring, and I'm like, for a second, I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna light the full ring on fire with Jericho in it? Like Danielson just kicks it out of his hand.
Please
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, dude. That
Like,
story
from a story-
was masterful.
Yes, I was gonna say, like, the storytelling is so perfect. Like, Kingston hates Jericho so much that he is willing to kill him in the ring.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
all like means. That's wild.
and
What?
I love the idea.
Especially,
Go ahead, Owen. Yeah.
especially since Jericho threw a fireball in his face not that long ago too. So.
Yeah.
Cause he's a wizard.
Yeah.
And then he says, "What kind of man tries to let another man on fire?" Jericho, you still got that magic touch, don't you? You just do, don't you? It's you just know what will
He
get
did the same thing with what kind of man wears a scarf.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I remember that. I remember
Double
that.
standard, Jericho. Double standard.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
what's the thing we always say on when it comes to AEW, Owen? Continuity. Hey.
Yeah.
That's your word. That's your word, James Freeman. That being said, Cairo, after Anarchy Arena, you guys still had to reestablish yourself for a triple threat tag team match and, of course, the World Championship match. How did y'all bounce back from that?
Well, like, the thing I was saying is that, like, Anarchy in the Arena kind of saved the pay-per-view's energy for me because, like, after that match, the energy just never went away. Like, the tag team match was fantastic. I thought there was a lot of good action there. And then going into the World Championship match, everyone was still hyped. So I think, like, that was a good call on Tony Khan's part or Jericho's part. It was either one of the two that, like, made the decision to have Anarchy go, like, two before the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it made all the sense in the world, and honestly, I'll go next after you, and then we'll go to Owen.
Yeah.
But
I can't believe how quick they put together the ring, though, to say the least.
Yeah, it was super quick.
Impressive.
Like
Yeah,
after the
I
match,
was
like
surprised
they
by that.
ran and like tried to like fix everything up.
that's
I was surprised too. I thought there was gonna be like not an intermission, but there was just gonna be a ton of interviews for a while. So I'm glad that they were able to get it done quickly.
We just saw Los Ingobernables being introduced. Now America's side in AEW, facing Andrade Iglo, and now El Toro Blanco.
Oh, that was so cool, man.
Yeah.
I lost
really
my
awesome.
mind when I saw Roosh. I was like, holy shit, LIP! Dude, if they get, I swear to God, if in this crossover we see Andrade, Roosh, and Tetsuya Naito, I'm done. That's it. That's it. I'm going to lose it. Like,
My soul will ascend inside the United Center.
yes!
I won't have a voice. I won't have a voice at all.
A lot of people want to watch a lot of
love
Cast
it.
On. I have to be the guy that still plays the commentary role.
Yeah, so to kind of go over the pay-per-view structure, I think what they did was genius anyway, but let's just put this in perspective. This fucking show ruled. Even on pay-per-view, like it was the best card. I feel like I say this every time. It's the best pay-per-view card that AEW's done because the matches were stellar. The matches were stellar.
Yeah.
The stories made sense. And the people that won the Owen made sense, and it made sense why it was kind of like, I don't know if it was necessarily that they didn't want to get into the Owen stuff. I think they were just kind of like paying the proper respect and like enjoying the match. And they were kind of saving their energy because, like, when you go to an AEW show, like, this is kind of the strategy I've seen people utilize. save your energy as much as you possibly can after the first
Oh,
two
yeah.
matches, and then do
Oh,
it for
yeah.
the next
Yeah.
one. But that does not mean that the matches do not freaking rule, because they do. I mean,
Well, we learned that when this is getting off. This is sort of off topic, but it goes with what you said. I think because I've been to 2 Boston shows where they've had Rampage afterwards. We learned that when they did Dynamite and Rampage together, because the first Dynamite and Rampage I went to together, was the same was the episode when that was Moxley's last show before he had to go away.
right.
No one really cared
Yeah.
about Rampage because we were so hyped because that was the same show where Adam Page was disguised as the Ghostbuster guy or whatever. But then when we went again, I think we kind of learned that lesson because that was the same episode when they were just here recently when
Right.
FTR fought the Bucks for the ROH and the AEW, the AAA tag belts, and then later on we had Moxley versus Willa Yuta. So I think we learned that lesson.
Yeah.
And then later on, Willa Yuta became a member of the Blackpool Combat Club. So again, in essence, you're not off track. You're kind of looking at the pace and the engagement of the wrestling audience, the all elite audience. Let's just call it what it
Absolutely.
is. AW
Yeah.
Galaxy, as the General Appreciation Society likes to call us. I'm proud to
Yeah,
remember that
I
now.
love that he's just taking those subtle pot shots.
Appreciate us. They're the
Yeah,
sum.
appreciate
That
Appreciate
being
us.
said,
It's my favorite thing Jericho has done in years.
Yeah,
again,
this is so
a
good.
goat, a master of reinventing his character, and now he's basically attacking all forms of sports entertainment in a world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, using
Bridging the
comedy.
two.
Obviously,
There's comedy.
when I saw the two like everybody was like, well, the Owen had the the finalists, and they wouldn't have been the people's first choice. But I thought it made sense from a story perspective, and I love that they went with the couple. I thought honestly, there was no better way to do what they did than to go with the couple there. I get it because Martha's a family woman. Owen was a family man, and so it would make the absolute most sense to put it on a family to be. That was so cool, man. Like, just the fact that
kudos.
they're honoring Owen Hart after what happened all these years, like that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Again, AEW has brought back a sense of humility to the wrestling industry that has allowed people to re-engage and enjoy and honor professional wrestling. That's really what this company has come down to, constantly building themselves on for the last 3 years.
yeah.
It's the legacy that Owen Hart deserves. Like, I've always been on Martha's side regarding what happened, and she was absolutely in her right to respond and react the way she did. And I think the tournament and that awesome speech that she did after,
wasn't
all the
restrained
matches
at all
were
by
done
any
was just
time.
great, very deserving,
Yeah.
very touching.
I mean,
Tony Khan
Tony
gave them the whole platform.
gave an hour extra in case they needed to go an hour extra, which tells you all you need to know. They handled this with such class. I can't wait for more Owens in the future, man. This is I'm hoping this is an annual thing, and I'm looking forward to it taking place every Double or Nothing. I love this show from top to bottom for sure. Like, this show freaking ruled.
And for me, sleeper match of the night was definitely Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly. The
Yeah.
brutality that
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
Yes.
That's underrated match.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good lord.
That was a sleeper hit of the night for sure.
From a day one AEW superstar to one of the most promising professional wrestlers driven in the industry, despite the condition of his back and knees. Those two try to kill each other. Good grief.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Kyle O'Reilly is still wrestling with how much kinesio tape he's got on. Holy goddamn! Like he's like he looks at Cesaro. He's like, hold my beer. Like,
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
He
imagine
looks at-
those two ever clash again.
He
Mikey,
looks-
let's get your thoughts on AEW Double or Nothing. Your takeaways, key moments, or matches, and anything you want to add towards what everyone else has said so far.
I'm surprised Darby Allin could still even wrestle, considering how
Right.
bad Kyle O'Reilly kicked him in the goddamn head. I thought I was watching something from Mortal Kombat. But, no, honestly, I was kind of taken out of the whole event because of that one report of the whole MJF bought a plane ticket and was leaving
Yeah.
Las Vegas. That kind of ruined my chances. But first match of the card out of the buy-in, he just shows up, and I'm sitting there going, okay, this is instantly better now.
Yeah.
But I'm still
A
skeptical.
sense of relief. A sense of relief.
Yeah, that's
Oh
what
yeah, it
that
was a huge relief.
Bro, for me,
And it
that's
just-
legitimately what it was.
You,
Like, I was like,
you,
holy
James,
shit.
you called me hours before, just heaved off.
Because I had no idea. I don't think anybody did. I thought
No.
they were legitimately, both sides were just being unprofessional as fuck. Which, by the way, we found out that part might be true. That part isn't a shoot. That part might be a shoot, but now they're working it.
Blurring the lines
But-
between shoot
Yeah.
and work.
We'll
Like,
get,
I
we'll
guess-
get to that.
Just like
We'll get to that.
Oh yeah,
There's
Mikey,
also
yeah,
this
continue.
other part of me that just is like I follow Botchamania a lot, so
Who
I'm just
doesn't?
like keeping an eye on very close of and keeping track of. All right, let's see who botches what.
Right.
Let's see. Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin, that gets a plus. Main event. Oh, you bet your sweet Bippy that gets a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Even
doubt.
Punk's like, damn it, I screwed
Be
up.
that as it may, if you're willing to practice, it'll be perfect.
Well-
Mistakes is the stepping stone to being great.
Yay. I love
Very
it.
well said.
Truth.
And King, last but not least, of course, your overall thoughts from this past Sunday's Double or Enough when it came to the story, the presentation, the length, anything on your mind that hasn't been said.
Bucks and the Hardys. I'm surprised no one's talked about. Well, I know Cairo talked about it, but the one takeaway I got to get from that is that Jeff was not acting the same towards the first stages of the match, and we know
Right.
why.
we know. I know.
Because
Yeah.
because first he's banged up because of that Darby, that still spot he did, which
Dude,
I'm surprised he even did it again the second time. I'm surprised he did it for the second time, and plus, during that match he was, still banged up. Because looking forward to this, the guy was like, the dream match, we're getting it again. Especially
And we
what
did
happened in
get it. I mean,
2017.
it was crazy for sure still, but wow.
But I mean, but
The last
Yeah.
five
I don't.
minutes.
But I don't want to hear any disrespect toward the Young Bucks ever again.
Thank
because
you. Thank you.
They literally carried this match, and they literally just proved to you why they are one of the best tag teams in this generation. I don't want to hear any disrespect about the Young Bucks ever again.
Yeah,
I know.
And they also capitalized on it this past Friday
I
on
am
Rampage, another classic to remember. Continue, Cairo.
I am a staunch supporter of the Young Bucks.
Same.
I don't care if they're overrated. Whatever. I don't care about that. Their talent is incredible. I love their storytelling. They do so much in the ring, and I will defend them whenever possible.
I'm with you.
Like,
Same
it is
way.
so
I am
admirable.
the same way.
Hey, Cairo, you'll love my how many hours was that podcast we did, Nikos, roasting old corny boy
Oh,
about his
at least-
horrible opinions?
Oh,
4.5 hours.
That was
Wow.
Dude, it was like child's play picking apart his arguments. I mean, it was lovely. It was a great time. But yeah,
Corny
Yeah,
is just corny
maybe.
over there.
not touched for the last 20 years. Let's just be honest here, gentlemen.
I know.
You were saying, Ken, continue.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, we 2017, and we got that in 2022, 5 years later, which expected it. It was still a good one, no doubt about it. And then we finally got the Summer of Punk, which, yeah,
Well,
about
We'll get to
man.
that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that, but yeah, that was also a good main event between Hangman and CM Punk, because that was the most unpredictable main event in its AEW history.
Probably the most
Because you
investing.
didn't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly, because you didn't know who was going to come out of that match as your AEW World Champion, whether it been you was on Team Hangman and you was Team Punk. And in the end, Punk made Adam Hangman Page went night. GTS.
Yeah,
Heyman went out on his own stallion and his own merit that AEW was founded upon, but also still his own insecurities that got him to the dance, but also cost him in the very end too, as you and me lightly alluded to, Cairo. Again, this whole entire show, for me, when I look at professional wrestling, I don't think about length. I think about quantity, the quality, the storytelling, the variety. This entire show, top to bottom, no two things felt the same. Was there points where you might have been like, I need a break? But then again, AEW, they don't do like a 30-minute interlude with pointless promos about what's to come next or what's already happened over and over again, too. From the Technical Wrestling Clinic, okay, James, get a cough drop. From the Technical Wrestling Clinic, we saw with
You
Serena.
need a Ricola or something?
Yeah, right.
Go to lodges. From the technical wrestling clinic we saw with Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa to the bright up-and-coming performance and continued growth we've seen over the months for the likes of Jade Cargill and Anna Jay, to who now rises up in the women's division under both occasions. From the technical sleeper, per se, with Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin, to the humble honoring where you forget about the idea of heel versus face, and all in the name of respect for Owen, where we saw Samoa Joe and Adam Cole, baby. And Underbreaker DMD Rubisoho with a cell bit of respect afterwards too. To the tag team clinics of trios action between the House of Black and the Death Triangle, followed by the triple threat, the then and the now and the come, with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy somehow overcoming the odds again. And then, of course, you had the humbling of a cowboy and a new champion crown in CM Punk. And you had entertaining spectacle for the ages with Anarchy in the Arena to remind you guys, this is professional wrestling, damn it. Have a good freaking time and engage yourselves. So, again, for me, this show, it definitely was something to remember. And if there's one thing that I probably would have changed, maybe one match should have been on the bio beforehand. And the only match I think that kind of fit the bill for that was probably the 6-way for TNT Championship implications. But Paige Van Zandt, she got a good showing for her debut. I think she has great potential, too. And Kyra, I imagine during that match, you were probably burnt out because that literally followed the Owen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, there were some points of the show where, like, I kind of felt burnt out. But, okay, for one thing, I had a flight to catch up to the pay-per-view. So, literally, like, after the pay-per-view, I, like, hauled my boat over from the T-Mobile Arena all the way to the airport. Because, like, if you've never been to Las Vegas, the airport's literally, like, right there. It's a 5-minute drive. It's literally so close. But there are two things I want to mention. Please. So, like, I forgot my other thought. Darn it. I'll tell you the story while my other thought comes back.
All right.
So, I mentioned this on Twitter, but I'll go into more detail about this now. So, whenever I go to AEW shows, I have a little Moxley doll. I also want to shout out Flighty, who goes by Flighty Buttless on Twitter, and she makes amazing dolls, merch, and crafts and art for wrestling, particularly AEW. So if you want like a lot of wrestling art, go follow her. But she's also the person who made my little Moxley doll. So I take little Moxie everywhere. I call him Moxie. And my seat at the show, it was you know the stage, like there's the heel tunnel, there's the face tunnel.
Yes.
Yep.
If you look below the tunnels, there are curtains that some wrestlers go through. So you're not going to see those little curtains on TV unless you're in the section right next to them. So that's where I was.
Gotcha.
So after Anarchy ends, BCC goes through the curtain that was next to me. So I got to see Eddie Kingston walk by, which is great. So I told him he, had a good match. Shit. But then I also saw Moxley walk by, and like I go up to the railing, and I told Moxley, or yelled rather, like, you were effing awesome out there. And then Moxley looks over at me. He sees my Moxley doll. He points at it, blows a kiss towards it, and like acknowledges it, and then just walks through the curtain. And I'm just like, oh my gosh!
That's awesome.
Nice.
They can fit the gamer score. Again, Moxley, humble family man, proud father, ridiculously insane, violent professional wrestler. Damn it! But I digress.
But also,
no doubt. Oh, of course.
But anyway, continue.
Real quick, because we're kind of pressed for time. Do you remember your thought, Carol, or no?
No, you can just go on to the next one.
Okay.
Well, before we do that, everybody, I bring forward the better of all things news.
Yes.
He has quite an inquiring mind, bridging the wrestling universe with Marvel and DC, and a lot of those theories, they hold up. I'm, of course, talking about great friend Eric Brown, representing Near Reality Entertainment. Eric, how are you? Good to see you. Your mic is muted.
No, your mic is muted.
Why am I not hearing you?
Shit! We were so close for nobody.
He has to check his Discord settings.
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
All right, Eric, check your Discord settings and then there we go. All right, say hello.
Cody Rhodes is injured and out of Hell to Cell, probably.
Oh Jesus, that's a double whammy. Oh boy. Oh, we got a double whammy.
Was this just now?
It was reported several hours ago that Cody might be hurt. He was out of the house show, and they had to replace him with Drew McIntyre, so we don't know what's going on heading into tonight.
Cairo's face speaks 1,000 words on that one. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think
That's
all of our
horrible.
faces
Oh my
do.
gosh.
That's their main event. And subtly speaking, sub-tangent, thinking about former AEW guy with no bad blood against him whatsoever, except for the fans for some reason, idiots. Cody Rhodes, he's had quite a good run so far, bridging what he's supposed to be, that professional wrestler, while trying to bring forward something that his family never done under the WWE.
I know.
And it would be tragic considering that, again, he's in the main event of this live event tonight, and now he might not be involved in it at all.
Well, I do have an update. He might be still good to go. He might still be good to go. He did say a few hours ago, "You ready, Chicago?"
Okay.
I say Cody's going to do everything possible beyond his human body's capabilities to be a part of this main event, and probably
He set himself on fire on his head.
Real quick.
Oh yeah, and Andrade saved him. Let's be honest, during that crazy Spanish fly spot through the flaming table. But I digress.
Real quick.
But that being said,
Real quick, hold on, Noah.
Wait.
I want Noah to get, or I want Owen to give his thoughts on Double or Nothing because we kind of didn't cover everything.
Oh, yeah, that is.
I mean, again, Double or Nothing had a lot to it to a degree. But Owen, go ahead and finish us out with the Double or Nothing discussion, and we'll move forward into the week.
Yeah, so I love the show from top to bottom. I didn't get to see the show live, so I had to avoid spoilers all day. So I didn't get to watch it till like the next day. So luckily, I was able to. I had to like tell everyone in the chat too. Like I haven't seen the show yet, so don't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Hashtag spoiler free. That's what I live.
But yeah, I love the show from top to bottom. Like you said, Noah, I thought Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin was the sleeper match of the night. And it was just a really entertaining show. I thought every match felt different. And AEW always finds a way to make me like matches that I typically wouldn't like the way they organize the triple threat tag match. I typically don't like those type of triple threat tag matches, but it made sense since it followed Anarchy in the Arena. You kind of had to structure the tag match that way, so I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed the main event, and I feel like one thing we're completely ignoring about the main event is I loved how they went back to Adam Page's insecurities when he went to cheat to get the victory and decided against it. So I thought that was awesome.
Please just make him heal already.
But I really enjoyed the 6-person mixed tag. And I really like.
I did too. Everybody else was like crapping all over it, but like that was
bad,
hilarious to me.
It was alright.
I enjoyed it. It was like, hey, it was meant to be a train wreck from the word go. That's exactly how it was leading towards. You were gonna have one babyface in the entire program in Frankie. Okay, I can get behind it. So that means we're either gonna get.
Won the match by himself.
Yeah, he almost won the match by himself. That was awesome.
But I even loved how it was like Bizarro World, like basically like no one really. I think Frankie was the only one that had a defined role in the match where he was the face. You know, I liked how everybody didn't have a defined role in the match. I thought that was cool. And I may get this may be unpopular, but I actually kind of like the whole Sammy and Ty thing. I like that they've turned it into something. Let's just be real.
I'm in the same boat too.
You do what you can with the role you are given. Make that money, make a name, a statement for yourself, and make yourself be a part of the product. And they did that on pay-per-view. By the way, congratulations to Sammy Guevara and Ty Conji, now engaged under Petty.
Yes, congratulations. But hope Sammy ain't sleeping on the couch again after what happened.
I mean, he his pride in the face. Just saying.
I'll even say this, and then I'll give one last thought. If we had the social media like it was now, everyone would be saying what they're saying about Sammy and Ty about Edge and Lita back then. So why don't we just be quiet?
I definitely agree about that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree about that. But again, different generation. Go figure. Eric, I know you've done a lot of...
Hold on. Owen still has one more thought.
Sorry, forgot about that.
But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the show from top to bottom. I really love the Owen, and I just absolutely love this show. This might be like one of my favorite AEW shows, and I was kind of concerned with the amount of matches that it had, because obviously I thought they had too much at first, but they made it work. So definitely, if I had 3 thumbs, it'd be getting 3 thumbs up.
There you go.
There you go. And I'm sure Dave Meltzer would agree with you.
I'll make one quick comment because Owen actually reminded me of what I was going to say. So this is going to be super quick. So one of the best analogies that I've ever heard about AEW is that like their pay-per-views are like a buffet.
Yes.
So like,
I like that.
you know how buffets have different types of food. So like,
Yes.
here's your tag match. Here's your spot fest. Here's your brawl. Here's your main event championship match. Here's your comedy. Like, you don't have to like every single match, but there's something for everyone. And that's
Yes.
what I've appreciated consistently across all the pay-per-views. Even if there are some pay-per-views I like more than others, I do appreciate at the very least that there's a match type for everybody.
Yes.
And
agreed.
Yeah.
That's honestly how it should be.
Yeah, and each pay-per-view feels different. None of them feel repetitive or the same. Not necessarily the same players in the same spots either. They've always changed it around. Like they changed out the courses per se, maybe on Taste of the Season or Fruit of the Wholesome. Every one of them have brought a different vibe, and it still has pushed AEW forward.
Go
What's up,
ahead, Owen.
There's one thing no one's even mentioned that I'm kind of surprised that like no one's even given. Julia Hart joining the House of
I
That
talked
was
about
so
that
cool.
in Trios match.
That was
And
so
I
cool.
knew that had to be the long end game. A heart turning dark, a dark empress rise. When you think about Malachi Black's message, it's like the friggin' person from Kingdom Hearts that went dark. That was for you, Cairo.
Sure.
So it totally makes sense for me. And she needed a character reinvention. And so far, I think it's a good fit for her. It totally transforms her. We'll see what comes from it too, as the house once again wins.
I have to
By the
say,
way-
I have to say real quick, shout out to the freaking Hangman DDT into Curb Stomp combo. That was fucking ridiculous. What the hell? That match
question is-
ruled.
Butters.
One question I have though is, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong, and then I'm done. Did the Julia Hart joining the House of Black take place right before the Owen Hart tournament matches too? Because that's, or am I completely wrong?
Pretty
on that?
much, yeah. A
You
Hart
are
and a-
correct.
It did.
It literally did, because we went right into the Owen following that match after Pac was blinded.
It's the
Yeah.
black heart, if you will. Ha ha.
But Eric, go ahead. You have the floor. I know you gave some retrospective. You even called Kyle Riley and Darby Allin kind of like your dark horse match. So I'd love to get any other thoughts you might have on Double or Nothing.
Okay, I have something that might be considered apocalyptic.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
There we
is
go.
this
Subword.
news? Is this
What he
news,
does.
or are you
Is this
talking about
news
Double
or
or
is this you
Nothing?
being apocalyptic as always?
Cause chaos.
Jim Cornette praised Kyle O'Reilly of AEW and said he could be a top player there.
Oh my gosh,
Oh, who gives
I
a
can't
shit?
believe.
Oh my god, I can't
raise
believe
something in
it.
AEW.
Jim
That's
Cornette,
shocking.
hold on, wait, here, look at my face. Jim Cornette, not consistent again. Who would have thunk it? Oh my god. All right, let's just move on.
Well, a broken clock can be right twice a day, so there's that.
I still think my favorite Cornette thing that he's done in the last couple of weeks is with Konosuke Takeshita, and he was
Yes.
praising his Hangman Page match.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
once he
yeah,
realized he was
Konosuke
in, once he
Takeshita,
realized he
yeah.
was in DDT, he's just like, no,
No.
Forget it.
No.
you're
Not
done.
accept this type of wrestling here on the States.
Never mind the fact that he has not done like one comedy match in his entire life. I'm pretty sure since he's been there. By the way, I'm pretty sure he's always been treated as serious competitor.
I'm
But,
pretty
you
sure
know.
Konosuke Takeshita is the most serious competitor in all of DDT Pro. But I digress.
Anyway,
Just look at Smoky Mountain.
yeah. Thank
That's all I have
you.
to say.
Thank you, Cairo. I'm so glad you said it. Oh my God, it's not just us anymore, Nikos.
Took the words
It's
out of my mouth.
It's not just us anymore. It's not any of us on this rundown. It's not anybody. We got an outside person here said the exact same thing. So it's confirmed that Cornette is full of shit. Go on, Eric. As you were saying, Double or Nothing.
Eric, if you
Talk about
Yeah.
Double or Nothing. Your thoughts.
Okay, we all know why. We now know why there was an extra hour put into Double or Nothing.
Of course.
Yes.
Just for respect to Marvel Hart.
Martha!
Yes, we love it.
And what a message.
Love
And what a
Martha.
reception, by the way. Again, this Owen tournament proudly delivered what it was meant to do in honoring Owen Hart. I have no negative flaws about it at all.
Go ahead, King.
Oh yeah, speaking about since we're talking about the Owen, shout out to everybody who participated in my Owen Hart bracket challenge as of the weeks. Shout out to everybody. I will be if they do it Owen next year, but be sure to participate.
Did I win
Thank you
or
to everyone
no?
who did-
Yep.
Hey, you'll get it next time.
Kudos to you, King, for hosting.
Aw.
Kudos to you, King, hosting a great way to bridge the world of sports and wrestling with a little bracketology fun. This was fun to say the least. Thank you for
I
that.
did so great in the Owen in the beginning, and then Johnny Elite came out. I'm like, well,
Everyone did,
well,
bro. Everyone
Me,
did.
Johnny Gargano.
I mean, at least you didn't have Dax Harwood winning the whole thing.
Hey, I like
My
that.
bracket
At
was
least
just
move forward,
done.
but against Adam Cole, yeah, he was done.
I
He was
personally,
done.
I'm gonna be honest with you
Finished.
though. I would have loved to see like if the brackets were different. I would have loved to have seen a Dax Harwood Kyle O'Reilly matchup.
Agreed.
Yeah,
And that might very well happen.
Neat.
That might very well happen sooner than we think because we know that Red Dragon has eyes on those Ring of Honor tag team challenges that FTR currently holds.
Let's go.
To say the least. But bottom line, Sunday, phenomenal show, phenomenal night, pro wrestling done right. Simple as that.
And then we move on, and Owen, you can open up this topic since this is also partly your production with the pipe bomb. Not even a pipe bomb. Who are we kidding? The
nuke.
promo nuke of the last 2 centuries, or sorry, 2 decades. I screwed up. I botched it. I said decades, and I said
200
centuries.
years later, we learned what a nuclear bomb is verbally.
We learned that MJF can drop nukes 200 years later. We didn't even know who he was 200 years ago, but that doesn't matter. Owen, what are your thoughts on MJF and his promo nuke of a lifetime?
First, I'm gonna say, James, of all things to have me host, you pick a promo. You know that's not my thing to talk about. Like, but anyhow,
I got something to say. If he needs some help.
Boys, I'll be
no, I got it. But
Okay.
And then Eric can add his retrospect because he barely spoke. So Owen, kick it off, and then tag to Eric. Go.
So I absolutely loved it. Again, I didn't get to see this live because I fell asleep after work. So James had to say, you got to watch this like now. Like I pretty much got off the phone. This is the first time I've watched Dynamite before dark. It was that good. I had to see it.
Fair enough.
But then, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Because I actually didn't even say I really didn't enjoy the MJF Wardlow match all that much because of the backstage stuff we knew about MJF. I thought that was going to be it for MJF, and then when I heard he was going to be on Dynamite, I'm like, wait. At first, I was thinking, what's going on here? Because obviously, this is something different. Because usually AEW is pretty respectful of injury angles. Because obviously, MJF got stretched out and everything afterwards.
Even
Then
though
when
they
he-
had the Ocean Max on him wrong, botch.
But even though he came out, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. And then when he just started talking about pretty much everything that happened, and it made me question, was this whole thing a work with MJF having contract disputes? MJF, wanted to go to WWE. Is this all just one big mass of work? Are we all being worked here? Because
And then it went into shoot territory.
yeah, it was really. This might be the best shoot promos I think I've ever seen. Like I've seen the pipe bomb promo. I've seen John Cena do some pipe bomb promos, and I've even seen Cody's pipe bomb. I mean, it wasn't a pipe bomb promo, but Cody's promo he did when he said he never challenged for the AEW World Championship again.
I'll add one word to help describe this for you, Owen, and then you can take it from here. Vitriol. The vitriol in MJF's fucking delivery was magnifique. It was so
James,
good.
And now,
just to educate those that might not be, riders or have such a vocabulary, why don't you give a brief definition about that word?
Vitriol means very, 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 very hateful towards an individual or thing.
and yeah, now it just makes me question like what's gonna come of this now, because I don't think we're gonna see MJF for a while. They've removed him from the roster page, and they did an angle out in the commercial break where CM Punk came and confronted. Obviously, that part's probably going to be messed with because of what just happened with Punk. But I'm just so interested in this. I really can't wait to see what happens because MJF is. I think MJF's the perfect guy to do it with too, because he stays in character all the time so much that you don't know what's a work and you don't know what isn't a work. So
he was the perfect person. You couldn't have picked a better person just for that alone. Yeah.
One of the last examples in the industry that literally is trying to keep kayfabe alive.
And this also, especially too, I think too, a lot of people I think the good thing about this is when people think of Punk's pipe bomb promo he cut a while back. That's all they remembered about the show that he was on, because let's be real, that episode of Raw I don't think was very good. what is even better about this came on a banger episode of Dynamite,
Oh my
too.
god, this episode was ridiculously good.
Fantastic.
You in California at the Kia Forum for AEW.
Jeff Meacham, you were live, you lucky bastard!
So that's what
Legendary Forum where the Lakers used to play. Man.
Also, wait, I just realized something. Was Lex there? For our ATW pal, Lex?
He might have. He was actually, I think he was there too.
Okay.
I mean, God willing, he was able to get through the traffic and actually get to a seat, because I heard some people in the Paradise Kitty group couldn't even, because LAX traffic is a bitch. Anyway,
Los Angeles traffic is
this.
horrible in general.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm well.
I would like to add to MJF's promo.
All right, Owen, do you have anything further to add before you tag Eric in on this conversation?
Yeah, but I'll just say that's the thing I like the most about this promo is when you think of this episode of Dynamite like 6 months later or like even a year later, there's going to be other things you're going to remember other than MJF's promo. I think that's going to be the best thing about it.
Like that 10-man tag was ridiculous, and so that the fact that Tanahashi stepped foot on New Japan, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But
let's get to Eric.
Let's get to Eric.
Eric, go ahead, man. I know you have a lot to say about this, and you kind of gave an interesting metaphor of what this kind of is, too. So take it away.
So one of the things I brought up was on Twitter is that someone on Reddit posted a video of MGF's nuclear bomb promo, and they noticed that it resembles several tidbits from CM Punk's promos from 2011 all the way to 2013.
Yeah.
And then I wrote this, the best way to describe it. The demons CM Punk has in him never went away. They merely found a new host.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because CM Punk, as we alluded to, Tyrell, is basically this.
It's like when he made Punk bleed on his white tee, all that energy from Punk's demons just kind of, he absorbed it. As if he were like a supervillain. I will take this part of your blood and make it my own.
Give in to another man's sins.
And MGF touted how he's always the most consistently highest rated guy on the show. So someone actually got the number by number rating.
Yeah.
Apparently it wasn't Tony Khan.
No, it was WrestleNomics. Here's the best way to describe what the total viewership was for that segment. And that's when and after that segment, the viewership declined a bit.
Yeah.
The total viewership for that promo alone was 1.1 million.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And only behind Punk's segment, by the way, which is the opening match. I mean,
right.
It's true. It's true. They are the two biggest stars. It's weird that this is how I see it. This is going by Nielsen, right? And I've been saying that as good as they are using that as part of the work, I've been saying this for months. We don't know the true numbers yet because we don't have all.
Streaming is the future.
Considering that you can watch AEW on Sling TV or Hulu TV or any you can watch it on the TNT app or the TBS app, depending on the show.
Right TV.
Yeah, like
this is Sling TV for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is still the case, but I'm pretty sure they show AEW again, like on other networks too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm pretty sure that.
TNT's they also have it on TNT in Spain.
And here's another thing.
Canada and Italy. Anyway, continue.
Let me just explain this as well. For those who are saying AEW's ratings are not as good as they could be, based on what? Because if you're just basing it on Nielsen, who owns a Nielsen box anymore in this country besides old people?
Well, the thing is like TVs are like nowadays they're very antiquated. Like
Right.
everyone's just streaming on computers, tablets, whatever. Like maybe like in the late 90s, well, absolutely in the late 90s with the Monday Night Wars with WCW, WWF, like everyone had TV, obviously, and the internet hadn't evolved yet to the point where streaming was possible. So of course, the only viable means of comparing ratings was television sets.
Exactly.
But nowadays, like it's 2022, people are streaming and they're watching AEW in different ways, maybe illegally, but. You know, like, what I'm trying to say is that, like,
anymore. That's the problem.
TV ratings don't provide the full picture anymore. Maybe in the 90s, maybe in the 2000s. I think it's when everything switched away from analog to digital. was when
2002,
like
I
TV.
believe, is when it really kicked off.
Yeah, like the late 2000s. But like television ratings and Nielsen ratings, they're like a great correlation, but it's not a causation of any sort of means, whether AEW or NXT, if we're talking about the Wednesday Night Wars, who had the better product.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
And again, the
yeah.
comparisons, they have no real value nowadays to the means that you literally can capture any form of media almost practically any way at any time. So whether it's live, on demand, bootleg, literally, there are so many ways to capture some sort of way that this is viewed. It's impossible to measure.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Here's the way you can kind of make a general estimation. If you take all the streaming assets that people have to watch this product, chances are, and you add the DVR numbers just on Nielsen alone, by the way, which they always break 1 million every week, by the way, just on Nielsen. Chances are you're looking at 3.5 million people watching this product every week, and that's just an estimation. And everybody's saying, well, you don't know that. Really? Well, explain why every other metric is up, including pay-per-view buys, t-shirt sales, and toy sales.
And YouTube views.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but back when AEW was on TNT, well, Dynamite specifically, wasn't that like the channel's most successful program aside from the NBA?
Yeah,
it was.
Like not counting the NBA.
They're like number 2 most of the time, just to the NBA.
Sometimes they overtook them.
Which, by the way, the NBA then got pissed for and then made fun of wrestling fans that were waiting for Dynamite when they had a basketball game going overtime.
I remember.
On purpose, by the way, on purpose. That's good scrubs.
That's competition, James.
Yeah, is it?
Also, keep in mind, this is one of the funniest things ever, and like I can't believe wrestling history will have to look at this, but research has shown through television numbers, I think WrestleNomics talked about it back in January, but one of the reasons why Dynamite on TBS has amazing banger opening matches almost every single week is because of the Big Bang Theory, because apparently so many people watch reruns of the Big Bang Theory that's the lead audience going into Dynamite, and that's really hilarious to me.
It's like the last 5 minutes most of the time too, Cairo, because literally when King starts the Zoom, I'm literally looking at Big Bang Theory for like the last 5 minutes.
And Big Bang Theory.
So I just think it's hilarious. I just think it's hilarious that 30 years from now, wrestling historians will have to credit the Big Bang Theory as one of the reasons why AEW is so successful on TBS.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to point this out.
AEW is American Dad without the theme.
The one thing I would like to point out, I would like to point out that should end the whole, well, the Nielsen ratings are the supreme knowledgeable whatever metric data, even though they're outdated. I have evidence. I have proof.
Go for it. I love proof. Please.
I like evidence.
Please prove my point right. Let's go.
Ohio Valley Wrestling got to deal with Netflix. And they probably aren't even in the top 30. And they got a deal.
Yeah.
About to say, you look at how many rising promotions nowadays outside like NWA and like Title Match, for example, that's so many independent individual promotions like Some All Women, like Capital Championship Wrestling. They're on the rise too through streaming networks. Some of these wrestling promotions are literally exclusive streaming. Terminus was literally founded on the art of grappling wrestling, and they're only on Fight.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real quick, before we completely lose track, because we just went from talking about
You
the
went from MJF's promo to
the
ratings.
I just wanted to throw that little nugget out there so that way we understand that Nielsen, just going by Nielsen rating, is a crock of shit. Nikos, talk about MJF. You got the Burberry scarf on, so naturally you should be the one to go next to talk about this.
Especially when MJF left his Burberry scarf in the ring.
By the way, this is the official scarf MJF wearing. What he's wearing is a false made from flea markets. I am expecting full compensation. But, yep, I'm sending my P.O. box down in the
section
but I
at
digress.
Dynamite would agree with you.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, this has been one of the greatest pipe bomb promos ever since 2011, and we've come a long way because I've been seeing videos of certain attempts of a pipe bomb, but none have come close to the one that we've seen with MJF, because to really engage in a pipe bomb promo, especially if you're a heel, there's a cycle that you go through. You gotta go through the crowd of them chanting for you to shut up, to the point where they're now cheering for you because every word that you say, they're backing you up.
Yep.
Which MJF as a character, I say he's the most complexly sound wrestlers on the mic I've ever heard since Punk in 2011.
Yes.
Because it's getting to the point where you don't know whether you want to cheer for him, hate for him, and to an example, one of our other buddies, Michael X, thinks that this is a way for him to turn face. I disagree, because he still has got that cocky, spunky attitude that he's trying so hard to keep that heel persona masked.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way for him to turn face unless it's given to the point where he is. This pipe bomb blows that conception out of the water because he goes after everything. He's going after what journalism, what these journalists hate, and he'll go, all right, I'll give you one better. Because a lot of these journalists will say, this has been the worst pipe bomb promo because of the language. Then, you know...
Who was saying that?
Believe it or not, Meltzer. Believe it or not, Meltzer was. And
Meltzer was.
Yeah, completely
That doesn't
disagree.
surprise me.
Good grief
That doesn't
almighty.
surprise me at all.
Nikos had to go off the air. I'll continue from his point, just to kind of go from that. I think
because he brought a lot of very compelling points, to say the least, with how this promo went full circle against basically everything the wrestling industry stands on.
I think the thing that I caught the most after watching it a few times, because I'll be honest, I watched this like about a dozen or so times, was...
Okay, there he is. He's back.
Subtleties.
Go ahead, Bridge the pod, then we'll go back to him.
The subtleties of the promo, Nikos.
Oh,
you catch he doesn't have the Dynamite Diamond ring at all. He does not take that at all.
But the one thing that he does do, and I'm just going to explain this, to how the bubble of AEW is not as small as you think.
No.
Because we get to know what's going on backstage. We get the understanding between the animosity between him and Tony Khan. We get the politics that's brought out. More importantly, we finally get to see an AEW wrestler speak or acknowledge the name drop of WWE.
Yes.
Because lately...
Like, just straight up.
I mean, sure, are you going to say the fact that, Jim Ross accidentally called the AEW Championship WWE Championship? Okay, look, Jim Ross is an old man.
Yeah.
We can excuse that.
Leave JR alone, one of the greatest of all time, alright?
He can get mixed
Favorite
up.
TV.
But
I love watching WWE Dynamite every Wednesday.
Yeah, same thing. I'm happy to be a part of the AEW universe.
But for MJF to just...
Galaxy.
But for MJF to just purposely name drop WWE, just say, why are we keeping this name a secret? Because lately, the wrestlers say they name it as, the other side, or that other place.
The other company.
Just straight
A
up.
sloppy
MJF just
shop.
straight up says, I'm calling it WWE. It exists. Why can't I say the name? It exists.
Yeah, it was brilliant how he just went and said it outright. And he says, and the way he says it, I think the best part of the promo, the part of it that peaked was obviously towards the end when he's screaming after he talks about how it's the biggest minute-for-minute draw, just as we said, going by Nielsen anyway. And he goes and looks at Tony and is like, but whatever you do, don't ask him to reach into his pockets and pay the man who's been busting his ass for him since day one. No. Make sure he hoards all that money so we can keep bringing in those ex-WWE guys that can't lace my goddamn boots. And he's shaking the mic.
That promo peaked.
Fuck me. That was... It was... Right. He talked about in the promo how... he is the best in the world because he's the only guy that can make you feel. I don't think he's the only guy, but he's absolutely the top guy, and he's the best in that field. No argument for me on that, man. That because I felt that. I felt the anger. I felt the vitriol he had towards TK. That I felt every bit of that.
Especially when
100%.
afterwards, his final words were, "You bleeping Mark, fire me."
Yeah. Oh my God, when they dropped the F-bomb, I think that's what made it more realistic for me. Was that he dropped the F-bomb, Nikos, probably.
The thing about when you talk about, vernacular and profanity, when it is put forward in context to raise the identity of your point, that's when it holds more merit, and that is when it has a, I feel, longer standing message. To say this is going to be one of the most memorable promos in the wrestling industry, to say the least, is an absolute accurate statement, because he looked at the art of professional wrestling in AEW. He looked at the hierarchy in AEW. He looked at the comparisons in value to AEW and former WWE, either trained or raised or risen and fallen, released, did not decide to continue, etc. He literally put himself on a standalone pedestal that outweighs everything in AEW, but also anything Tony Khan could bring forward from the WWE.
I don't think I've ever heard a promo where he just shit all over Ring of Honor, New Japan, and WWE all in one fucking promo. Like, it was just...
Yeah.
It was, like, ridiculous. Like...
Yeah.
All the bullet
I
points.
think what makes this promo like really stand out too is this is the first time I think on like a platform where someone's done like a pipe bomb against AEW, because I think now we don't really I think nowadays when someone does a pipe bomb on WWE against WWE, we hear about it all the time now. We know nothing's gonna happen from it. We're excited about this because
something could actually happen, because AEW does this thing, and it's called it's very simple, guys. It's called read the room.
Yeah.
I listen to its fans, but to say the least. But Cairo, again, you and I talked about for 20 minutes, so feel free to go ahead and strip down this narrative as much as you want here.
Oh yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts about this. I just want to say first is that it's one thing for y'all to be at home wherever you live and just watch the news. Imagine being in Vegas while all of this is happening. So like, okay, so I told Noah this, but I was out eating lunch with friends, and after lunch we were gonna hit up FanFest, and I'm just looking through Twitter, and I see that MJF no-shows his meet and greet, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. This is weird. And then as the afternoon goes on, I'm asking fans, like, you know what happened with MJF? And they're like, oh, I don't know MJF. Like, everyone at FanFest is super confused. And so then as the day goes on, then you hear Sean Ross Sapp break the news that, oh, well, there's a flight to Newark that MJF is taking, and he's going to go home. And I'm like, oh, goodness, is he going to miss the pay-per-view tomorrow?
Which by the way, I will say, as much as I appreciate them doing everything they can to make this a work, this should be the most bait thing ever. MJF lives in Massachusetts. He doesn't live in New York. So that's kind of what gives it away.
Yeah. Like, my basic take on this entire thing is that, like, I think MJF no-showing his meet and greet was real. That actually happened. Because, like, to me, logically, there's no way that AEW would advertise him for a meet and greet, and then suddenly he just doesn't show up, and AEW has to refund everyone. If that was intentional, I'm like, what? Yeah. And if that turns out to be a work in itself, I'm like, why would you do that? Anyway, so like,
I said the same thing. I said the same thing.
I was gonna say this. Oh no, that's a WWE style move. They've been advertising stuff, and then they go ahead and just like, screw it.
Yeah, no, the AEW doesn't have that track record, so
which is what really confused me about this.
Especially because with MJF,
they just have somebody else in the role that still applies to the continuity. We've seen it countless times during the pandemic, for example, when someone was tested positive, and they substitute somebody else in the match that has history still with that very opponent. Anyway, sorry, Owen, go ahead and give your thought, and then we'll get back to Carol.
I was gonna say, especially I don't see like AEW advertising MJF, because his meet and greets are always the most talked about thing out of them too. So I don't see them. I don't see that happening.
Even a draw. The most expensive. He's even the biggest draw at the meet and greets. Continue, Cairo.
Yeah. Like, I think it started off as a shoot. I think the contract negotiations are real. All of that is real. But then I think Tony Khan and MJF decided to capitalize on the situation and essentially turn it into a work.
And you know Punk helped.
Yeah, and I still believe that these negotiations are...
I was saying no doubt about it,
Yeah, so I definitely believe that those negotiations are like still going on in the back. I don't know to what extent, because obviously I'm not a backstage member there, but I still think that like, that's going on. But in the meantime, they're taking the emotions of it and turning it into this work shoot, which is what the
Right.
MJF promo was last night.
And
So-
I think at the heart of it, Cairo, it's workers' compensation.
Right.
So like a
exactly.
lot of the MJF stuff, and all the terms being thrown around in the like feels around it reminds me of one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, which is Brian Pillman.
Loose
And
cannon.
and like part of the reason why he's one of my favorites is because he took wrestling and essentially turned it into this art form where you blur the lines of reality and fiction, and
Yes.
like I think that is immensely powerful, and when done correctly can make the audience wonder whether whatever they're watching is like real or not. Like my
Yes.
favorite work shoot promo of all time is his ECW SummerSlam promo from '96. Because that entire thing for 10 minutes, he's just like
Yep.
trashing on WWF. He's also trashing on WCW. He's also trashing on ECW. It's like this whole entire tirade, and he's throwing out all these insider terms. And MJF is like also throwing out these insider terms as well, like Mark, you, blah, blah, Mark, Pate, fire me. And his promo gave me a lot of vibes from that.
Yeah. I think
Now, correct it.
he took everything from the well. He took Brian Pillman. He took Ric Flair with the delivery, and I'm convinced when he was saying, "Don't count me down, you piece of shit. Shut your mouth." He straight up ripped that from frickin' Stone Cold at the WrestleMania 15 Rage Party.
Yeah.
It was a straight rip from that.
Did any of y'all notice that, like, he's intentionally breaking kayfabe? Because if you remember from the end of the Wardlow match, MJF is taken off the stretcher and he's leaving. So clearly, you would think logically that one, he's severely injured, and two,
Right.
if he shows up on Dynamite, he's going to show up either like a wheelchair or
Yes,
crutches,
yes.
which neither
Yeah.
happened. So he's non-selling what happened to him Sunday.
And he's
Yeah.
not
That's a-
selling his character either because he's not in that full get-up with the blazer and everything.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, too, because we just talked about Brian Pillman. Didn't the same storyline pretty much happen with Pillman, and then it turned into a shoot? Wasn't he supposed to, like, leave WCW or something? And then
come
he ended
back,
up...
yes.
So
then
basically
it-
what happened was Pillman had like his child at the time, and he's like, oh, well, I'm a wrestler and I need money, so I'm going to try and negotiate a larger contract with WCW, which is where a lot of his loose cannon ideas come from. So he actually legitimately convinced Eric Bischoff, this is how far it went, it legitimately convinced him to like drop his contract. Like, this was crazy back then. And he did some things with ECW, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but in the meantime, we'll negotiate a WCW contract. Like, we'll draft everything.
Fiends.
And then the WWF was like, hey, so
Yeah.
weird that you've been doing this. What if we offered you more money than WCW? So he went
Yeah.
to the WWF. He left Eric Bischoff high and dry, and that's how we got Pillman in the WWF.
So this is just like this. This is the same. This is the same thing almost, except they probably
Almost.
Not
Yeah.
quite.
It's
It'd be
crazy.
wild if Tony
Brian
Khan legitimately
Pillman,
just
the greatest
cut
con
his contract.
artist in wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much.
some galaxy brain stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Owen Hart, the greatest ribber. Brian Pillman, the greatest con artist. Who knew?
Let's give King the floor, because King has not given his thoughts on this pipe bomb yet.
Yeah.
In the middle of all this conversation and context, King, again, you and I, we watched it via Zoom, and we both reacted like, holy bleep. So go for it, man.
My opinion, this was basically, I don't surprise no one gave this comparison, but it gave me, yes, we heard the pipe bomb in 2011. But anybody ever mentioned it kind of gave me Joey Styles 2006 Raw vibes too?
That's a good
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's
I saw
shout.
some people say that comparison on Twitter.
That's
So it
actually-
kind of gave me that.
Yes.
It kind of gave me that type of vibe as well, along with the Punk 2011 promo. Because as soon as Joey said, "No, I'm not a sports entertainment storyteller," those type of vibes, it gave me that from what this MJF and this is what's been missing for the last decade: the blur the lines between kayfabe and realism. This is what we've been missing for the last decade. I'm glad MJF is the one to step forward and bring that back in professional wrestling, because that's been missing. But that's, in my opinion, it kind of gave me that comparison.
I agree with you to a point. I will say that other people have done the reality into kayfabe stuff. It was just a lot more tame compared to what this was. This was blown up on a whole different level.
James, there's one key difference with all those other ones versus this.
The profanity?
Unscripted.
Yep. Amen. And I think
Eric, you had a thought?
There was something else I wanted to mention about how this turned from a shoot into a work. So I do think that was the case. I think because MJF was pissed, like, why am I not getting this much money like these other guys have been getting? And Tony Khan was like, yes, you deserve that money. Can you sign this extension? No! And I'm like, that's not how this works, man.
Yeah.
You can't have it this way.
Yeah.
And this is what I wanted to point out. I think there's just something that they didn't anticipate. Here's the thing. This probably wouldn't been having all this wouldn't be happening if the pandemic never happened, if Brody Lee never passed away, or if Nick Khan never took over WWE.
And fired a bunch of people, yeah. I mean, that's what it comes
Oh,
down
Nick
to.
Khan.
Big domino effect, to say the least. All these factors coming into play, and the fact that
But with Brody Lee passing away, I mean, I could see the other
that
things.
was the turning point, not only in AEW but the wrestling industry.
Yeah,
and
I think that's why. And here's the reason why he mentions that. I know exactly why Eric mentioned it. Oh, and here's basically the reason why that was brought up. That was kept so tight-locked from the entire IWC, from all of social media. Nobody knew that Brody was in critical health. So I can imagine if they could do something like that, and again, Brody Lee, God rest his soul, obviously, they could do something with this MJF thing. I mean, you know they're going to try to keep it as tight-locked as possible.
no doubt.
And listen, I understand that this is a work. I think everybody in this room understands that this is a one big giant work, but it's so real and it invests me enough that I'm in it for the ride. And if casuals are believing that this is real, guess what? You just got the best of both worlds and everybody's happy.
And they're also extending their audience, and they're trying to tell people that what you see in professional wrestling is not necessarily always the F word. As we saw afterwards when we came back on the Dynamite, there was some MJF chants galore.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, this is so similar to Pillman, because back in WCW, when that whole Booker Man thing happened, the casuals were like, Booker Man? What? But then the hardcores who read The Observer and were on forums online were like, oh no, he didn't. He didn't use that word, did he? Like, it's so similar. I love this stuff.
Booker Man.
He went there, Cairo. He freaking went there. Now people are going to be like, okay, now I need to really follow this dirt sheet because I believe it's the gospel. And I'm going to be.
I now have come to the conclusion that MJF's promo sucked because he did not refer to TK as Booker Man. That's.
He should do that in his next promo.
And the next time he's on TV, hey Booker Man, you think you can silence me? Think again.
Oh,
Forget
man.
invading with a
Man.
microphone.
You know what?
in the
I wouldn't
audience.
doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Hey, by the way, when I will say when he said that you're not fans, where were you guys when you were calling me an unprofessional piece of shit? That's my fault. Sorry, and my fault.
You know what, James? I'm
James, you're
just gonna say
guilty.
this. When
You're
he
guilty.
said that, I have a feeling in my brain because you have a tendency of tagging wrestlers.
I did
and
tag.
creators
Yeah, I
in
tagged.
your Twitter, and
No.
I'm thinking to myself,
So when I
no.
thought it was, I thought it was
no.
when that part of it was a fucking shoot. I straight up tagged Tony and MJF. Get the fuck over yourselves and do business.
Oh no!
And so,
And I told you
because
that
I was,
for a
put
fact
it this
he
way.
was targeting
I
you.
saw
This
the
way.
tweets.
I'll explain my position before people get
before
angry.
you say that, but I also did say Tony was willing to do business. MJF didn't want to sign an extension.
Which I didn't know, so my bad on that. My bad, TK.
Oh, James.
But let me explain my position on this, and no one knows my position. I was
I know
looking
your position.
forward to Double or Nothing for months and months, even though there were some situations where I'm like, how the hell are they going to book themselves out of? Now we see how they booked themselves out of it, so we're good. But at the time, had no idea, and then I heard MJF was doing this thing, and then Tony and him were doing the thing, and they were having their quarrel, and I was like, why do you gotta do this the day of the event and zap all my fandom out in like one moment? I'm like, oh no, am I not gonna like this now? Like, Do I have to set myself for low expectations? That's what was my mind was going. Like,
I've
my mind just went
seen
all
this.
over the place.
I've seen this happen with you. I have seen it.
He is seeing
I think
this.
I've been.
He is privy to this. My bad. But,
I'm not.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not justifying what MJF did by missing the meet and greet, but my logic in thinking why he did it was, okay, well, clearly Tony isn't listening to me with the contract negotiations. Oh, it's the day before a pay-per-view. Maybe if I do this to actually hold up the pay-per-view and threaten the slot because everyone's been looking forward to MJF versus Wardlow, maybe he'll be more desperate to talk to me, which, like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword because you also have to think about how Wardlow has been built up for the entirety of this feud, and stalling this match would ruin his, build up that he's been having.
There was a catch.
So I understand.
Vegas.
So I understand why MJ. I understand why MJ had the
24 code and just went back.
Yeah, right?
He literally arrived just before it was time for him to come onto the show, too. And he even insulted us with the whole playing thing, up yours as well.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, as we learned, Kyle, literally once the match was over, okay, I'm out of here, see ya. And then we learned Wednesday, uh-oh. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Here's the thing. People were trying to say, "Oh, this is just like Sasha Banks and Naomi." I was like, "No, it's not."
I am so sick of that comparison. It's not even comparable.
Like Sasha and Naomi were given promise after promise after promise after promise, and Vince broke it again and again and again. Tony Khan said, "I'll work it out with you."
Don't sleep on her.
And Tony Khan was like, "I'll work it out with you. Just sign this freaking extension."
Yeah.
And MJF's like, "No, I want to do it my way." And it's like, you can't have it both ways.
Well, okay. Let me, in defense to MJF, as much as I shitted on him for how he handled the business when it was a shoot. In defense to Max, the reason he wants to do it his way is because he has a fucking right to. He is, if you go by the Nielsen rating, the biggest minute-for-minute draw behind Punk. So therefore, he should be getting more money, and they should be rewriting the contract outright. It should be. It shouldn't even be a question. Like that alone, with the knowledge that we do know from the Nielsen numbers, he should automatically be getting rewritten a contract because he is one of the key segments on that program every week, and everybody always talks about him. So I understand where he's coming from there, and that
over in his promo,
which by the way made this work shoot promo so fucking beautiful because I think everybody, even the people that were calling him an unprofessional piece of shit, were legitimately like, this is like
you have a valid point.
You have a valid point here. So it all worked out, I think. It worked out
but this is what I also mentioned. I mentioned how MJF wants to have the same contract but get more money, and I said that's not how this works in this industry. No. Like Roman Reigns told Vince up, I want to work less shows. I don't want to work house shows anymore, or as much as I used to. Vince was like, okay, just sign this new deal and stay around longer. Okay. And we're there. No dispute happened. Then Sasha and Naomi got pissed off, and we all know where that goes.
Exactly.
There is an update on them about them. Naomi's on.
You know what? Let's go to a break, and we'll talk about it after. We're gonna get to some WWE talk, just so that way Owen can give a little roast session to a certain brand. Very, very powerful brand.
Before you go there, James, let's just sum up this segment like we always do. As far as the MJF segment goes, probably the greatest segment so far in AEW. I can't wait to see what's next.
Everybody, put your thumbs up. Right? Everybody put your thumbs up. And when we come back, we're going to
give the people what they want.
And then we're going to talk about NXT TakeOver, and then it's going to be thumbs in the middle or thumbs down. I mean, your interpretation.
TakeOver, Jay. TakeOver, James. What's that?
Takeover,
oh, yeah.
It's a
I'm sorry. It's not a takeover. Hey, Owen, why don't you lead us into the break for once? Say something.
We'll talk to you when the break comes back. I've never done this before, so.
Oh, and you gotta work better on that. Folks, this has been AEW. Stay tuned as we take a short intermission and we come back to talk to you about sports entertainment from the prioriters themselves, the WWE.
We'll be back.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Indie Force Podcast. This is podcasting like you've never seen it before. In 2019, Michael X won the Wrestling Rundown Predictions Championship, taking the wrestling world by storm. When the virus attacked, these four individuals would create a podcast to talk about the nerdiest shit on the internet, filmed in the Massachusetts underground. They talk about everything from professional wrestling, YouTube, mixed martial arts, movies, comic books, tabletop, video games, anime, social media, content creation, and everything in between. Watch the Indie Force on the J. Hebert Studios channel now and subscribe today. The following announcement has been paid for by the Indie Force Podcast.
Do you think you have what it takes to cut the greatest promo in professional wrestling history? Step through the ropes, pick a gimmick, and know your role. The Ring Scoops Wrestling card game is the ultimate pro wrestling fan party game. Draw cards at random, use your creativity, and cut a promo on your opponent while the audience cheers. The Ring Scoops card game.
Available now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Indie Force fans of all ages. I am Luke Lynch, Commander of the Legion, and if you have not already, check out my adventure vlog series over on my channel. Grant you, it's not the most often updated series. It's definitely far from frequently updated. But when it is updated, it's good times, geeky, nerdy, and fun times all around with cool geeks from all walks of life. For example, YouTubers, content creators, Twitch streamers, you name it, I've got it, all on The Adventures of Luke Lynch, which you can find on my channel. Subscribe, like, comment, watch, share, do the whole thing under the umbrella of For the Win Productions. Future James, take it away with that outro.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are back on the Wrestling Rundown X ATW View crossover stream in celebration of what we will talking about, or what we will be talking about in this main event of this simulcast, I guess you could say. There you go.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And before we go into our other company's sub-tangent, the Inquirer has one last thought regarding what has been previously discussed. So, Eric, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Three things. One, Bryan Danielson is sadly hurt and couldn't get to his meet and greet. Tragic. And I just read this. Okay, remember how Kurt Angle had knee surgery?
Yes.
Yeah. Good grief.
They found something in his knee socket.
Oh, jeez.
Angle, could you please explain to the doctors here how you have a screw in your knee socket?
Oh my god.
Oh.
How? Wait,
How did that happen?
Wait, as in just it was lodged into his knee socket?
Like, this is what he said. This is what Kurt Angle said on his podcast. It's a week later. I'm not doing much better. It's pretty brutal, especially when you have both knees down at the same time. I don't went through anything else, but let me see if I can find the part where he mentions the screw. Okay, this is what he said. It's pretty crazy, but when I did the surgery, what they found is that they found a screw in my left knee just hanging out of my knee socket.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And here's the thing. I'm going to point this out. It must have been from my surgery 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Oh,
What the hell?
Holy fuck.
Let's say that for 10 years.
Bones and muscles.
Wow.
That is
And the screw popped loose and was just hanging out of my knee socket. It was crazy.
And he's somehow this whole time. No wonder when I met him at SummerSlam 2019, he was sitting down in a chair. Good Lord Almighty.
Yeah.
You know what? Shout out Kurt Angle, man, because there's no reason why he should be alive. Never mind wrestling at a high level as he did for so many years. Holy shit.
He wrestled with that for 10 years.
One of the best collegiate athletes of all time, trying to bring brighter eyes and restore the highlight of professional wrestling through the likes of TNA and Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
So, last but not least, I wish to direct you to this evidence of this screen right here.
All right, show it off.
Show it.
What screen? All right. I'm showing the stream. Jesus. Okay. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, Bridge is taking dives off the top rope, and he said he's going to fly. Oh,
Damn.
and because the fans are morbid Fs, I like to point this out. That Jim Crockett promotion match, it's sold out.
Of course, it's
But
Ric
they're
Flair.
ready for
course.
execution. They're ready to see a live execution.
Name value alone was going to sell out that show because everybody knows who the heck Ric Flair is.
I'll be honest. I don't care for him after what I heard of Dark Side, but that's just me. I don't know.
Well, again, it's the
neither.
context
About
you're taking
who?
based on what you heard from a documentary.
Flair.
Oh,
Flair.
yeah.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Yeah, his big show, his retirement match is sold out now.
Right.
Dude, how are you even gonna do that? Because apparently now there's like reports coming out that he's got a short, limited window health-wise, which sounds like he's about to die at any moment now. That's what that sounds like to me.
I think at this point, Ric Flair's just trying to YOLO it and have one last moment in former glory.
Oh yeah. Let's have a YOLO moment by having a live death in the ring. That should
Please.
put the asses in seats.
I don't want this.
I'm not going to watch it, I'll tell you that much.
Damn it.
Anyway,
Hey,
thank you to everybody
you know
that
what?
continues watching along this collaboration. Shout out to everybody in the chat who's watching, of course, like here live.
Oh yeah, by the
on-
way,
and-
shout out JJ Williams. He's in the chat right now, by the way.
Hey, JJ. Stay tuned, folks, for me and JJ bringing you commentary again on the Jet Media tonight during the Red Creative Hate Premium Live event. It's sure to be entertaining, to say the least.
Speaking of which, let's go back to our main topic. Oh, and you got some things to be saying
Yeah,
about
I do.
a certain event. So I leave the floor to you, sir. Go for it.
So I watched NXT in your house. It's so weird to say not Takeover because I haven't really watched much of NXT since the Takeover days.
R.I.P. my NXT, but continue.
Agreed.
So yeah, NXT in your house took place last night. I watched it live, and I was actually pretty excited about this show because sometimes Vince's NXT can be hit or miss for me. This was a miss. I'll just say that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened on this show. So
The matches, by the way, I just want to point this out. The matches were good. The booking, no.
yeah, let me talk about them real quick. So they didn't even announce there was going to be a kickoff show or anything else. You had to just know about it because they never said anything about it. That was bad.
Oh gosh, really?
And there's been a new standard nowadays, Owen, that I think we've all noticed with the WWE Premium Live events. Pre-shows and kickoffs no longer contain in-ring action. It's just talk and analysis.
Oh my god, the
Yeah.
and the talking analysis, they all sound like robots. Every one of them.
Even
every
Se-
last one
even-
of them. Even Booker
even-
sounds like a robot now. It's so bad.
Even Sam Roberts, who's supposed to not be that way. So
Well, so much for that.
I'm pretty sure this is part of Vince's initiative of having a military police state.
So yeah,
Gosh.
let me run through. I'll just kind of run through the matches real quick and talk about the booking. So they had Tony D's group, whatever that is, versus Legado del Fantasma, where the loser team had to join the winning team's faction. Guess who won that match? It was Tony D's group. And so instead of making
Wait! Hold on! Wait a minute!
Hold
Why are they having the match?
Uh-oh.
No. Hold on.
Look what you've done, Owen!
James, and I'll continue after you.
Yes. I'm going right. I'm tagging you in because we probably have the same idea here. Why are they doing the match if the whole point is one faction's merging with the other? Just merge the fucking factions!
exactly.
What are you doing? Why is this a match? There's nothing on the goddamn line. Actually, if you put Legado del Fantasma with Tony D's group, it actually would probably make it like 10 times better. I can actually see that happening. Why didn't you just do that?
Well, you see, James, there's a perfectly logical explanation. They looked at Impact Wrestling when the Immortal group merged with Fortune out of nowhere, and they said, we can be dumber.
Well, the whole thing, James, though, is they're not merging out of choice. Pretty much, Legado del Fantasma was forced to go under the direction of Tony D'Angelo. So it's basically
all right. Well, okay.
Still
Tony
not good.
basically runs Legado del Fantasma and Santos Escobar. They all work for Tony D'Angelo now.
Oh my god.
Guys. I'm just gonna say this, okay?
Welcome to the 20-cent mafia.
What?
Oh
Guys,
my god.
hold on. I'll get to you in a second, kid. Guys, do you see what we're doing here? Do you see that there's
Yeah.
there's 4 different streams right now? We had 4 different shows a part of this crossover, which was originally supposed to be 2, and we all got along great and we had a great time. Why can't you guys do that? Why does it have to be, oh, I have to make you join my faction by force?
Yep.
Oh, where have I heard that before? Cena Nexus. King, go ahead.
Why am I WWE still? Why am I WWE?
Why? Oh, why?
King's
This
having a
is
summer
part
Miller
of me
folks.
saying the fact that I wish the Mysterios would have stayed in NXT for a little longer like Dolph Ziggler did, and we probably would have got Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde taking on Rey Mysterio and dominate.
No, it's gotta be Tony
Legado
didn't
del
even-
Fantasma has to run under Tony D'Angelo's system. Oh, Jesus.
I didn't
Now you
even
see
watch
why-
NXT.
You
I didn't
see
even
why
watch-
I don't watch this Nickelodeon Kids'
Well,
Choice Awards.
guys, there is something else I gotta point out about what happened later in the night. I'm not gonna see the match though, but here's the thing: the Creed brothers also had stipulation. If they lost their match, they would be forced to leave the Diamond Mine because that was already struggling enough as is.
What is with all these stipulations? I didn't even watch NXT last night for the record. What is with all of these, like, I don't know.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Hearing y'all describe
The stipulation
it's
helps
probably
or
more
something.
entertaining than the
Oh, one more thing. There was one more stipulation.
Yes.
Braun Breaker had to face this. If he got disqualified, he would lose the championship.
Randy
Orton
Orton Christian, are you kidding me?
Yes.
So let me continue with this show and talk about the booking atrocity that took place out of this show.
I don't think you have to, but
Please
go right
enlighten
ahead.
me, because I did not watch this event.
I was the simple comment.
So then they had.
last night.
I feel bad for you now, Noah. I actually feel bad for you.
Dave,
the book.
When it comes down to this, guys, let me
matches
talk,
were good.
Let me talk to you. When it comes down to what I do as a commentator, my job is to be unbiased, to bring people in. There's a flavor for everybody, so Mojo said himself. Believe it or not, there are people that not only care about this NXT, they do see potential in some of the talent in NXT. And outside the likes of Ivy Nile and Cora J, for example, I don't see a whole lot of it. But what I did with JJ last night, it at least kept me somewhat engaged and somewhat entertained. So while you all do go on your tangents as the way you are as fans, please keep in mind, these people at the end of the day are working a system defined by one man's vision.
Oh yeah, let me make
by choice.
Yes, let me make it very clear and to add to Noah's point. I am in no way disrespecting Tony D'Angelo and his entire group. I am no way disrespecting anybody else on the card. They're lovely people. They're great workers. They put their bodies on the line for our entertainment. It's not the workers I have an issue with. It is the booking. It will always be the booking. I have to make I have to make that fucking point clear. Oh, and continue.
That's what it comes down to.
So then the next match was Toxic Attraction defending the women's tag belts against Casey Catanzaro. I refuse to call her new name. That's not happening.
Thank you.
Mainly, I don't know it because I don't watch the show enough. So,
Caden Carter.
And Caden
The
Carter.
other one's always been Caden Carter, at least. At least she's kept her name.
But,
yeah, after they changed it the first time when Lacey Lane was a perfectly serviceable name, but, you know, continue.
But yeah, let me go through what... So basically, nobody cared about this match because they didn't do anything to make Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter really credible challengers to Toxic Attraction. So everybody pretty much knew who was going to retain the belts anyway. So what was even the point of this match to begin with?
Oh, it's almost like they don't care about either women's tag divisions on either show.
Meanwhile, instead they've been doing the breakout tournament for the women's on TV. They legitimately flew Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez to the show, and they didn't have them have their match on the show.
Tuesday.
Then why fly them in?
To hype it up.
Oh, I didn't even get to the...
And we call it falsely advertisement.
I believe that you're onto something there, Inquire Man, but
By the way, I didn't even get to the worst part of this show. they had the in your house. They didn't have the set this year. It was just virtual. It was just a virtual. It was just a virtual in your house set.
CGI.
No.
It's literally
Again,
the
SmackDown flashback.
NXT
SmackDown
You have
fist
to have the
flashbacks.
house.
Nope.
They didn't
There
have the
was
house.
A graphic in LED. A graphic in LED.
Bullshit. This is bullshit.
Go
Continue,
to your
Owen.
house.
No.
Continue, Owen.
Guys,
And then you had
guys, that was the only good thing about that takeover too, because it was in the pandemic era, and they fucking get rid of it for this because they're like, we gotta do LEDs, we gotta do CGI.
SmackDown fist. Never forget what they did to the SmackDown fist.
To be fair,
Oh,
they have not done
God.
CGI yet in this NXT. That's probably something to come. But yes, it's literally the original NXT 2.0 set with the graphic.
All
of the house
NXT
on the LED
is
board.
all
That's it.
NXT is Nickelodeon Raw from '93, and they just
Yep.
splattered paint off it.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Thank
they
you.
got enough white paint. I'll tell you that much.
Go
You
ahead.
mean
Anyway,
you
continue.
don't like the American Nightmare tattoo in CG?
I mean, I just feel like why even have the CG when
You don't
the-
like Roman Reigns?
He misses
CG Roman
Titantron.
Reigns?
Do Titantrons, man. It tells a more complex
Titans.
story of the fucking
Titantrons.
Well, at least AEW and Impact Wrestling does that. But continue.
Go ahead.
let me see what else.
Go
There
ahead,
was
Owen.
some there was a backstage segment. It led to somehow not Saxton Hugsley.
Botch.
Tatum Paxley versus Alba Fire. There was somebody talking trash about Alba Fire. I don't remember who it was.
Last
I'm gonna be-
Legend.
Last Legend.
Who?
Legend.
Oh, you mean Kaylee?
Who?
You mean Kaylee Ray? You mean Kaylee Ray?
Alba Fire
I'm
is
not calling.
Billy Ray. Yes.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
changed their name because
But,
they're devil.
Because WWE
But,
has to make sure it's all their own. Continue.
Well, let me
Owen.
let me
no.
explain. It was Last Legend that was talking trash. Paxton Hugsley, whatever her name is, was encouraging Last Legend to challenge Kaylee Ray to a match, and somehow it led to the person. Somehow it led to her having the match. I don't even know how that happened. And again, these people were flown. Again, these people were flown in, and they didn't wrestle on the show. What's the point?
Oh boy.
And then what else? What else was on this?
By the way, does that sound familiar, Owen? Let's do a promo on Premium Live Event. No buys.
Yeah. And then we had the North American title match, which admittedly was a banger. It was a hell of a match.
That was the
But
match
for-
of the night. Let's be honest here. That was the match of the night.
Of course it was, considering the workers involved.
Aaron Grimes and Carmelo
But-
Hayes.
I mean, come on.
I gotta be honest. I may. No one may agree with me here. Cameron Grimes, they just had randomly lose the belt for no reason. Like he legit lost the belt.
Transitional chairman. Carmelo Hayes got it back again.
I never want to hear any complaint about the TNT title being hot potatoed ever again. They've done it twice in their history. The WWE literally, since they've taken over NXT, has done this a total of 7 times!
I gotta ask though, they legit have a storyline where Solo Sikoa wants to go after the title. There's a story between Cameron Grimes and Solo Sikoa where you could. It's an easy story to tell, and now they've completely ruined it by having. And why is Carmelo Hayes even the champion? He legit had a title in the last. There's nothing left for him to do with this belt. Nothing.
No.
Two-time champion.
Let me see what else is out.
I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you exactly why, Owen, because even though it's 2.0 and not the black and gold,
He'd rather be in NXT than the main roster where he will get buried.
Yeah.
Continue.
Then we had Mandy Rose defending the women's belt against
Wendy Chu.
Wendy Chu.
A pillow got
no one-
torn apart during this match. I kid
Yeah,
you
it
not, by
was-
the champion.
I mean, I guess the match was technically good, but then I was thinking to myself, I've seen people like Charlotte, the Four Horsewomen, Io Shirai, and all these people like kill it with this belt, and I'm seeing someone tear up a pillow during the NXT Women's Championship match. Like the NXT.
Update on Io Shirai. She's apparently injured.
Yeah, that's why she's been gone for a while.
Yeah, and then
I'm pretty sure the other reason is because she refuses to destroy her reputation dressing up like Mandy Rose.
and I have to think to myself, Mandy Rose has held this title longer than Kairi Sane, Charlotte Flair's second reign, Shayna Baszler's first reign, and Sasha Banks. How does that happen? Why is that happening? So
don't you get it? They're forcing the women to dress sexy because you're gonna have to be like Mandy Rose to get the belt off her.
And Brazzers disagrees with the WWE philosophy. What world do we live in?
You know it's fucked when Brazzers is saying, "Yo, that's sexist as fuck."
And then
you done fucked up.
And then what else would okay, so admittedly I loved the next match was the Creed Brothers versus Pretty Deadly. Everything that happened in that match, I wouldn't have changed a thing. Honestly, this was my personal match of the night because everything happened the way it should have happened for me.
Knew that freaking Brutus and like could do a shooting star press.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The freaking Brock Lesnar, but actually executing it properly. That was beautiful.
That was awesome.
Is Brutus one of the Creed brothers that I said looked like Family Guy characters come to real life?
Yes.
Oh, that's. Oh man, is it the Peter Griffin lookalike or the Quagmire lookalike that did the shooting star?
I don't even remember which one you're talking about.
I will tell you this.
I think it was
Remember how I mentioned the stipulation?
Yes.
Well, Owen, take it away. Tell us who won.
Yeah, the Creed Brothers won. If they lost, they joined Diamond. I personally didn't hate this. I mean, I didn't really understand the stipulation, but I kind of liked the stipulation because it did make the match more unpredictable. So I'm not.
It's one of those things only that I've come to notice now that Stokely Halfway's in AEW. Roderick Strong, he's the leader of Dynamite. He's trying to reshape it, reform it, or at least do what he can as long as his contract's going. So he added a bit more pressure to make this match for more high stakes. But the key takeaway here, Creed Brothers' parents were sitting ringside. You already knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are the Diamond Mine baby faces?
Technically, right now, I would say yes, with the exception of their leader.
I don't think Ivy is because she's a heel in NXT UK. So,
I mean, you call her a heel in NXT UK when she just formally steps up the champion.
Okay, so they're the Team Taz of the NXT 2.0 boys. Okay, got it. Continue.
Oh, let's get to this main event though.
Oh Lord,
do we want to?
Before you say something, let me just say this. There's apparently somewhere out there that are saying that it has got enough credit that made some of us have talked about this, that apparently people are comparing Joe Gracie to Bray Wyatt. I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
But
anyhow, let's get to this main event. So we have this NXT title match. It's Braun Breaker defending against Joe Gacy. Where do I begin with this? So, I already talked about in my prediction show when they made this feud really... They basically Triple H and Randy Orton this match from WrestleMania 25, where they made the feud so personal. They wanted to tear... Braun Breaker especially wanted to tear Joe Gacy apart. So, how did they respond to this? They made it the stipulation where if Braun Stein, or whatever his name is, got disqualified, he lost it. Tell me that's not Triple H and Randy Orton all over again.
Literally, Triple H, Randy Orton reincarnated.
Okay, wait. Big important question. Did Braun Breaker break into Joe Gracie's home?
Never.
And there's no justification for it. Wait, the end.
I'm not going to argue that.
But then it gets worse.
Just looking on right now, just pondering, what is this?
What?
I'm just simply like eating my imaginary popcorn right now.
Especially James's inevitable meltdown once Owen's done talking.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I was there live for an NXT when it was still black and gold, and I saw the greatness of NXT, and what they've done to Triple H's baby hurts my soul like you don't even believe.
Well, why do you say that? NXT Black and Gold still exists. It's called All Elite Wrestling Dynamite.
Yeah. You know,
let's see. We got Keith Lee. We got Athena. Shall I continue? Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Ruby
Adam
Soho.
Cole.
I said Adam Cole, baby.
Samoa Joe.
I didn't hear you. Yeah.
Swerve.
Yeah, Swerve.
Keith Lee.
Tony Nese. I mean, I know he's not NXT, but Tony Nese.
Yeah. You know what?
No. He was NXT. He was involved
Ty
on there.
Conti.
Yeah,
Ty Conti was
you know what?
I love Ty Conti.
You know what? I can rest easy. It's fine. Thank you, Kyra. I appreciate you.
Let me finish
You're fine.
Let me finish this up. So, all I can really say about this main event, go watch Bray Wyatt versus John Cena from WrestleMania 30 and then watch this match. It's the same match. It's the same exact
Oh my
match.
god!
When it comes down
Oh
to a
my
chair spot,
god!
they roll up the counter
Oh,
and a
no.
spear and a power slam.
Oh
Braun
my
Breaker retains the
god!
title.
Yeah, this was
Oh my
terrible.
god!
And now you have.
Joe Gracie is not Wyatt.
Actually, there is a comparison you can make with Joe Gacy with Bray Wyatt. Every big feud they put him in, he's lost. He lost the breakout tournament. He lost the. He lost.
The only
he lost.
comparison you can make to this dude is that he looks like Husky Harris. All right, let's just stop kidding ourselves.
Joe Gacy's character killed 205 Live. I'm saying that. That killed the cruiserweight division.
Yes, I remember that. Not my 205 Live.
Yo.
Yeah. No, remember it's NXT Level Up now.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I forgot to mention this. They're actually, here's the thing, and I don't know why they couldn't just make the pre-show kickoff of the NXT Level Up, but they taped matches for Level Up from In Your House, so why can't they make that the pre-show? Because that would make sense.
By the way, let me just say one more thing, because this actually, not a lot of people are going to talk about this, but this deserves to be brought up. They dedicated probably a half hour to this show. I think I timed it, to advertising Hell in a Cell. Like, legit, a half hour of this show was advertising Hell in a Cell.
Was hyped up literally for Hell in the Cell after each match on this NXT special.
They show promo packages for Cody Rhodes and Seth and the Wild Triple Threat twice. So that shows you right there, they didn't care at all about. All they cared about was just promoting Hell in a Cell. I think that's all this show.
Developmental, Owen. This isn't an alternative in WWE. This is literally Vince's starting grounds, and not proving grounds per se. The starting grounds of his future WWE. He sells it.
You know what? I'm just gonna say a little jingle here for everybody at home. Follow along, okay? If you wanna see developmental, watch NXT 2.0. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of something. I just remembered something. This is important. This is important, James. You're probably gonna get very frustrated from this.
How? I'm already. Go ahead.
Okay, we all know Stephanie left.
Oh, I've heard this.
Yep.
That's too. Yep.
Guess what came out?
Oh boy.
Rumors.
Or words.
Spill the tea.
The rumors basically saying this. Oh, Stephanie wasn't that good at all as the executive. She was worthless.
I
was like, oh god, this is the Keith Lee situation all over again.
Bro, let me just
Except attacking of her physical health, they're attacking her mentality.
Bro.
And her business practice.
Bro, let me talk to you real quick.
All right.
And I mean this. This woman has literally stuck her neck out for this company and for a lot of reasons, for many of which moral, never should have had to. And the fact that any one of you, and I hope somebody from Stanford watches this that said that about her, any one of y'all higher executives are shitting all over Stephanie when she has done a lot for this company, more so than Vince ever had. She's the sole reason, need we forget, that the 2K deal's still even in business, by the way. Let's not forget about that before she ended up leaving the company. But so let's just talk about that. Is Stephanie the best McMahon? No. I understand she's made her mistakes, but she did that out of Vince's freaking wish, pretty much. She has had her neck out for anything her father wants, and this is how you repay her? Bullshit.
We launch a smear campaign.
You watched the Pat McAfee podcast. You heard what Vince said. He wished that his family actually did more. He thinks they don't do enough.
Yeah, which was, bro, when I heard him say that, I'm not even kidding you. I wanted to vomit in my mouth.
He said that? I can't believe he said that?
Yeah, and Cairo has...
He said that live on the Pat McAfee show with millions of people watching.
And Cairo has her microphone unmuted, so go ahead.
Say what you want about Stephanie, but there's a professionalism to her that I've always respected.
Same.
And, like, she really knows how to brand the WWE, and I'll give her that at the very least. So to kind of see her get pushed away, and really, honestly, just the whole McMahon family get pushed away from, like, WWE for Nick Khan or whatever.
You're right, Nick Khan. It's later Nick Khan.
Yeah, like,
Whatever
he's doing, it's like some Succession bullshit.
Yeah.
You see the HBO show.
Yeah. Yeah,
which I'm
no,
actually watching through right now. So
Remember, James, WWE wants to do their own version of Succession called Pinned.
Yes.
Pins. I remember that talk we had.
What's next? Stranger Theory. What's next? Stranger Things WWE edition. When
What would
we
you
gonna
call?
get that?
What would you call that?
Okay, guys, I got it. I already have the perfect synopsis.
I got
to
it.
pick-
I got the name. Kazarni Incarnate.
A wrestler at the time named Kazarni back in 2008.
yeah, he'll be the star.
Oh,
He'll be the star. It's fine.
I was just gonna say, if you want to talk about things that are upside down, we could just call it Vince's basement.
Vince's basement.
Vince Underground.
I have the perfect pitch.
McMahon Underground.
Go ahead, Eric. I want to hear this.
This is what I said. This is what I said they should do if they ever thought about making a McMahon family series that they should have done for Pinned instead of making it fictional. The pitch is perfect. The McMahon family strives to hold together no matter how much they want to tear each other apart.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Accurate. It's pretty much accurate.
Does that not sound like Animal Kingdom, though? What I've been seeing on TNT commercials for?
Well, Vince does like to think he's the top of the animal kingdom.
True.
Yeah.
Did I mention I don't like this guy very much? I think I've mentioned it many
Many
times. I think Cairo's got an analysis of that.
Yeah, I think I do all on my show. Most of them on my show.
I mean, I don't know.
About Nick.
About Vince and Nick.
About Vince, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is the first time you're hearing it. Am I unjustified in saying that I don't like this guy, and quite frankly, I don't care about him if he kind of, Is that a bit rough?
Vince is gonna live for another 30 years. I think Vince is still gonna be alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond us.
They should make a live-action reality show following him around. There is 30 years of content left you can get out of it.
He's got at least another 15 to 20 years in him. The guy's like in his 70s and he still works out to AC and he can still like lift and shit. Like
Yeah, unbelievable. By the way, you can't deny the work ethic of that man on his body. I'm like, you're not human.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, you're not kicking the bucket anytime soon.
Yeah. Now, if only he would take that effort that he puts into his workout routine into his WWE product. Oh, I hit a nerve. All right, let's go. All
right, well, moving on from there, that is this week in WWE as far as its biggest highlight, you can call it that. NXT.
But there's another highlight. It also highlights about Vince McMahon's business mentality because of his spitefulness.
Yeah, and
what you got, Eric?
Okay, we all know what's going on with Sasha and Naomi, and they've been pissed off.
Oh yeah, you said you were gonna break this when we came back.
Yeah, you did. This was backed by Fightful Select, so you know this is more legitimate than Dave Meltzer ever was.
Oh boy,
go for it. Curious.
So WWE has reportedly canceled all travel plans for Sasha and Naomi across the country.
Doesn't shock me.
And WWE, remember, they suspended them, legitimately suspended them. That means they're not getting paid, they're not getting merch money, even though Sasha has, well, the Star Wars stuff to do. And Naomi can live off the residuals of her husband, the family dynasty of Roman Reigns and The Rock.
Bloodline.
Yes. And they also killed off the tournament.
Yep.
Which proves their point even more. I'm like, let's be real. They were going to lose. WWE is in a lose-lose situation. If they took the tournament seriously, Sasha and Naomi got what they wanted. If they couldn't take the tournament seriously and threw it out, then Sasha and Naomi got proven right.
Sasha and Naomi are justified in what they did because they have no women's tag team division in WWE. This isn't Impact Wrestling with a Knockouts division.
We've been hearing
all 6 of their women on SmackDown in a 6-pack challenge.
Yes. And we've been hearing how Sasha and Naomi are said to be having their contracts coming up in a few months, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And we always hear this story that they're not on contract. They can't. They're out. They're breaking the contract. They can freeze them. They can freeze their contracts. They can stick around longer because we're a totalitarian empire. We can do whatever we want. There's actually something that came out about that.
Go for it.
Turns out they did not think the part through about suspending them because it turns out from a higher up in WWE, they came to Fightful and told them, Yeah, I don't think the company can freeze their contracts because we're not paying them now since we suspended them. So they can actually
you
be
know,
out here.
you know why? Because it's called illegal.
A lot of malpractices that the WWE has gone away with, but this is one that you can't overwrite.
Do you understand why they got rid of Neville after they tried to freeze his contract? Which they never did, by the way. That's why. Because they can't.
And now Sasha and Naomi, if their contracts are at their expiration date, WWE can't do a thing about it. So Sasha can be like, well, screw you all. I got Lucasfilms, I got Disney on my call, and I could probably get other deals with other companies that would love to have me. See ya.
Eric, like I said, when you go to WWE, you don't go there to be a professional wrestler. You go there to become a entertainer, and you see how many people have literally gone from the ring to Hollywood.
Oh, speaking of, Tommaso Ciampa is thinking about leaving and going to Hollywood.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But let's talk about Sasha and Naomi since it's kind of topical. I want to get it from Cairo's perspective because I'm sure everybody here has given their thoughts on their respective shows.
Yeah.
But Cairo, and I'm sure you talked about it on the Daily Slam briefly.
She's probably written about it. Check out her writing piece.
And have also written about it. What is your overall thoughts in talking form here?
Yeah, I think Sasha and Naomi are 100% within their right to react to the booking the way they did, because we've known for years that the women's tag team champions, just basically the tag team division for women in general. Well, generally speaking, the tag team division in WWE, let's get the men and everyone else.
Yep.
And then women-wise, continue.
Everything feels smushed together. No team feels authentic. And a lot of this is lazy, incompetent booking. And you have Sasha and Naomi, and I would argue that these two are probably the most misused women's talent in WWE in the last 5 years. You have Naomi, who does these amazing spots at the Royal Rumble, and who actually trended after the 2020 Royal Rumble because of her talent. And
you want to? MJF brought up minute by minute draw. Sasha Banks was a minute by minute draw, so to add to that as well.
And Naomi draws, Sasha Banks absolutely draws. Look what she's doing, and you have all this talent who deserve more, and you book them like that in the match. What? No way! That's ridiculous. I don't blame them at all for walking out. I don't blame them for asking more money, because that's just absolutely ridiculous the way that they've been treated about this. And then they were like, oh, well, they're unprofessional about this. And I'm like, shut up. How many men have walked away from talent and creative decisions because of very similar reasons that Sasha Banks and Naomi have? At this point, you're just being absolutely sexist and misogynist about Sasha and Naomi. So shut up and actually let them do what they need to do.
You. Okay, I was just about to make that point to add to your point before, but you took the words right out of my mouth.
MJF is literally doing this right now, and people are cheering him.
Yeah.
The beauty of this, Cairo, is we are male perspective fans that agree with everything you say, but coming out of our mouths, it's like, oh, you guys don't mean that. That's coming straight out of you.
No, we've been saying that before she ever got on. I've been saying this too. Let's put this in perspective too, to add to your point, Cairo. RK Bro was a smushed together tag team. They got the team to actually work and be something that they could be invested in.
Yeah.
And they made the fucking division. They were the sole reason the tag team division thrived on Raw. They were the only reason to care about that division, because they actually gave them enough of a fuck to try to make it work, and they did successfully. Sasha Banks and Naomi did not get that opportunity. That's bullshit, that's sexist, and especially when you consider that Riddle and Orton were not as big of a draw minute by minute as Sasha Banks was, that's a fucking problem. End of story.
Also considering that Sasha Banks has been scrutinized in media before, and now people have this narrative that oh, well, she's ungrateful for her spot. Reminding you that the rumor of Sasha Banks and Bayley crying on the floor at WrestleMania was created by a media person who is still closely connected to WWE. So a reminder.
Thank you.
Basically, here's the thing. I always said this. Either Ryan Satin apologized to Sasha, which I'm pretty sure he did, or Vince told Sasha, I don't give a F about your feelings.
Oh, and by the
Or
way,
Ariel Helwani was paid to, stir the pot because that
oh.
guy's a bit shady in his practices too that we've seen.
Let me just say this as well. You want to talk about Ryan Satan? All right. You can say a lot about JD from New York, but I'll tell you this much: at least JD gives shit to everybody and is an equal opportunity hater. You don't have any excuse because there is legitimate proof out there that you yourself, Satan, have been sexist to women. Go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. Cool.
And I said this. I have not seen this much gaslighting on a wrestler since 2002 with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, and Austin didn't even. And I'll be honest with you, Austin didn't even get it nearly this bad. They just let him walk off and release him.
You know why, James? Because in this day and age, when you look at the absolute wrestling community, internet and beyond, when it comes to those that analyze the industry, it's more so a man's perspective against the women.
Yeah.
I remember going through Reddit, I have an anonymous Reddit account, just so I can go through, different Reddit threads, and one of the ones I frequent is Squared Circle, and I remember one thread that I was reading, where it was who was the meanest wrestler that you've ever met? And one of the constant answers in that thread was Sasha Banks. And the reason why they were justifying that Sasha Banks was the answer was because she didn't stop to say hi at the airport or didn't stop to autograph things at the hotel. Mind you, that Sasha Banks has stated in interviews multiple times that she's really, careful about her boundaries and how she represents herself because she wants to protect herself. If you go meet her at a meet and greet, that's fine. But if you're going to stop her at an airport...
We're in a pandemic still.
Yeah. You mean you're going to stop her at an airport when she's on a flight or maybe just getting off a red-eye flight or at a hotel and you get mad that oh, she's mean because she didn't sign my 30 action figures that I'm going to sell on eBay.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Sasha Banks is entitled to create as many boundaries as she wants to ensure herself that she feels safe, because I've seen so many stories
in and out of the wrestling industry, or anybody held to a certain standard in today's popular society. You are not the cream of the crop that everybody needs to be justified to be appreciative of your support. If you're looking for that once-in-a-lifetime moment, pay for it and get it at the right appropriate time. Do not invade these people's lives.
Yo,
because I've seen so many stories of women's wrestlers who are hi, so please don't send your mail oh my god. So I remember a couple years ago, Lacey Evans did her show.
Yep.
And apparently a fan researched the type of stockings that Lacey was wearing, to the point where they found the actual model and the actual look online and sent it to Lacey to sign it and send back. What?
That's
Listen, how much mental warfare there is in the industry and why people don't want to be involved on social media in any way or form.
I mean, Sonya Deville went through this 2 years ago when that fan invaded her house.
Bliss!
Yeah, and Bliss recently. Let me just put this in perspective.
And Liv! Go ahead,
quick.
James.
Oh yeah, live with a mortgage.
Exactly. King and I, everybody knows we can appreciate both the physical, what they do physically in the ring, and also the beauty of a woman, alright? That's one thing. That is one thing.
Yeah, that's normal.
That is a normal thing, alright? And you could do it in a way that is not that is not fucking creepy, that is not totally fucking bullshit, that makes everybody creeped out. Just be a decent human being and stop doing this fucking weird shit. Oh, by the way, this is just scraping the iceberg what Cairo talked about, and she cut a pipe on her own today, first day into this program.
Respect.
I saw comments. I watch a channel on YouTube called Corporate Kane, and he covered he does this series of how to get a date with a wrestler or whatever, and he's basically just shitting on all these weirdos on Instagram comment section. It's bad. It's fucked up bad. Some of the shit that they say you would get arrested for sexual harassment. That's how bad this was. It's terrible, bro.
I mean, people make Instagram bot accounts posting all their stuff that they post on their Instagram stuff. So
And you know what the worst part about all of this is that and to bring this back full circle to the Sasha Banks Naomi case, one of those types of people that are fucking sexist, misogynist, and probably creepy in some regard is the head of talent relations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why we're going
That's
backwards when it
just-
comes to what they proposed they started, and they did not start it. Get your facts straight, Jack. Women's revolution, evolution, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it did not start in the WWE. Women's wrestling was respected and dignified far before that company even tried to do something special under Triple H's NXT.
The
Yeah.
90s.
So, Jamie, there's something I want to bring back full circle for you.
Go for it.
With all
Should
the
I,
Sasha
should I,
and Naomi,
I have a bottle ready, so should I?
with all the Sasha and Naomi
no.
stuff about how they're being treated and how all this talk of sexism, racism, and whatnot,
Yep.
why hasn't Big Swole commented on it?
Oh,
I
here
think
we
she
go.
has,
Here we
She
go.
might have.
unless I've said otherwise.
Hey, listen. I had my issue with Big Swole. I was proven right at the end of it because there wasn't a diversity issue in AEW. I think it's kind of clear now there
I
is.
think there's one in WWE.
There are in WWE, yeah. Oh, big time. Are you kidding me? Fuck. Oh, we could go all day about how bad their diversity problem is.
I can label one. Remember when you were talking about why WWE didn't just do Asuka versus Ronda Rousey when they did the triple threat match decision, which pissed you off?
Yes, I do.
Here's the thing. Ronda Rousey's the reason Asuka had that career resurgence. And Nia Jax after punching Becky Lynch. Because remember when Becky had to select a replacement and ultimately went with Charlotte?
Yes.
Yes.
But when it went to Asuka and she was all hyped up, the crowd popped. Guess what was said backstage?
Yep.
Vince reportedly was like, I didn't think people liked Asuka. Why? Because she doesn't speak English? You dumbass.
This is the same company. This is the same company that took. This is the same company that took Funaki in the late 2000s and turned him into.
Yeah.
Oh,
If that's-
here's the thing. I don't know if you heard this. Did you ever hear this story by Jim
Kai and
Ross?
Tai in general, by the way. Kai and Tai in general.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the story about Jim Ross? About Vince not wanting to hire Gail Kim because she was Asian?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so fucked
I
up.
heard about that.
Oh, I remember.
I heard about
Oh,
that.
And then Jim Ross had to explain like Asian fetishization. I'm like, what? No.
And it's like, look,
Jim
the
Ross
men
just
love
didn't
Asian
give him a
women.
chance in that
Go
company.
hire her.
And now look at Gil Kim as the head of management for the entire Knockouts division in Impact Wrestling
Yes.
as they celebrate their
Yes.
20th anniversary. And I
I'm
still stand
pretty
by
sure
this
Gail
to this
Kim's
day.
thinking to herself when she looks back on that, it's like, that was a warning sign I should have taken.
Exactly. And
Man.
yet
I mean,
here we
she
are with
just
the
ditched the
strongest,
Royal Rumble.
the strongest and deepest properly booked women's division in the industry in the States, as far as I'm concerned. Impact Wrestling's
Yeah,
Knockouts
respect.
division.
Yeah, respect to Gail Kim. We're probably going to talk about that after the second commercial break. But let me just and before we go to the
As we move away
second
from
break.
the WWE to another company.
Yeah,
But
I
go
just-
ahead.
I just thought of.
Go
What you
ahead.
got? What you got, Eric?
Goddamn.
What would happen
Big
if
wave.
Impact's Wrestling Knockouts division partnered with Stardom?
Take my
Oh.
money. Take my
Yeah.
money.
That would be
Take my
pretty
money.
cool. That would be pretty
Take
cool.
That'd be awesome.
And
Money,
you know
take
what?
it.
You know
Take
what? Just add AEW and NWA's women's division to the mix. Let's
At Pro
Thank you.
Wrestling Tees. That's where people like Jamie Hayter came from. That's where people like Dr. McGregor DMD, don't forget it, literally went through too.
Yeah,
But I digress.
I just want to put this out real quick. For when it comes to how women are treated and the way that Gail Kim specifically was treated, Red Crate hate is Sunday, but man, do I feel the hate for Vince right now. And I'm trying so hard not to have that much hate to this guy. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, and then he does this fucking bullshit.
And still,
Yeah.
Fuck.
and still, might I add.
So yeah, I'll cut it to break this time. We got only one more break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about indie stuff, because we kind of segued a little bit into that. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned, folks. We talked a lot about the WWE, but get ready for a more positive side as we look at other parts of wrestling.
Impact
We're talking
Slammer.
about
we're going to be talking about Impact Slammiversary 20 years. We're going to talk about AlwayZ coming up. We're going to be talking about
NJPW's Dominion.
And then we're going to talk about the Forbidden Door and the crossover between AEW New Japan for our main event. So, until then, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
A table from hell with the Psycho Asylum. An Iron Man match of factorial proportions. Man.
In this fight, I will melt you down to slag.
Versus Machine.
I calculate a 0.85% chance that you will win in your current condition.
Full Metal Mayhem. Calling Horizon.
When you throw me into the wolves, I will return leading the pack.
Vera McGarden.
And I'll do anything to be the warrior on top.
For the Athena title. Best friends turned bitter rivals. Johnny Star.
Don't get in the way of the star or you'll get burned.
James, the Archangel.
I'm the real star of this brand.
For the international title. The Outsider, Mark Young. The Executioner, Michael X. For the WYW World Heavyweight title. 2 out of 3 fall.
Inside. In a hell. In a cell.
WYW Immortal. Now available on YouTube.
Hibiki TMD on YouTube, retro gaming, pro wrestling, podcast,
Terry Bollea,
Hibiki Honors, Hibiki Quickie, everything in between. Hit that subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. And hey! Watch out for pedestrians, pal! You on the bike! Slow down!
Hit that subscribe down below. Check us out at the Hibiki TMD on Twitter, Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Oh, the goddamn goodness.
If you like the content that you saw today, make sure you check out For the Win Productions and subscribe to the affiliates of this conglomerate. A Simple Man Studios, Insanity Works Studios, Genelee's Beauty Slam, J. Hebert Studios, Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated, Owen the Talkinator Studios, and of course, Weymouth Youth Wrestling. All in the J. Hebert Side 95 modules. Subscribe today.
Okay.
All right. We're back from break, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry it took me a little bit longer than I wanted to. I just had to explain something before we came back on the air. So, Aaron, since you have to go soon, and you kind of broke a lot of news for us on the WWE and AEW side, we appreciate you having you on. So, because of that, we're going to do a plug for you.
We shall plug it.
Plug. Go to my link tree at Neo Reality Entertainment. Check out my content on Neo Reality Entertainment on YouTube, NRE The Wrestleverse, Neo Reality Collective Pop Culture Talk on YouTube, or Pop Culture News and Reviews Talk on Anchor.fm. Check out my other content on Patreon, as I'm planning to do and expand on that. Oh, and also because I wanted to go ahead and go leaving on a shocking moment, Ron DeSantis sucks!
Who?
The governor of Florida.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, probably. It is Florida, so it doesn't surprise me. All right, cool.
Take care. I'll try to see if I can get back, but I'm not guaranteeing that.
Alrighty.
Appreciate you always, man.
And I know you said you gotta go eat dinner, so you go eat dinner. We'll hold the fort down for you, brother.
Well, now right now. No, I have to. Now right now. Actually, I'll check if I have to eat right now. I don't know yet.
Freaking get a notification from the
double check and then just come back. So Impact, despite all adversities, and probably is actually doing really good now with their current roster. 20 years of Impact
unbelievable. TNA, Impact Wrestling, Anthem, Wrestling Matters. We've seen everything with NWA Crossover, NJPW Invasion. We've seen Team Canada. We've seen the constant thriving X Division and the constantly evolving Showcase Knockouts Division. And now we approach 20 years, which will be a day to remember at their anniversary, Slammiversary. Literally just mere weeks away, and they're already making history once again. The first ever Queen of the Mountain match contending for the Knockouts Championship. All former Knockouts champions, of course, and the current Knockouts champion. We got a bit of OG feeling here. We got some of the new breed, and we got probably one of the youngest in the division as well, I would say, and Tasha Steelz defending the gold. We, of course, know that Sami Callihan, the Death Machine, it seems like he's here to make Moose's life living hell. I see that match being booked. We got the OGs of TNA and Impact Wrestling taking on Honor No More. Both team sides yet to be fully determined as we start to figure out who's going to represent Team TNA. And, of course, we also have now known our World Championship match between an all-Canadian bout, an OG that gave us basically his work history and his story by design. Violent by design. And Eric Young as he takes on the walking weapon Josh Alexander. And we start to figure out our Ultimate X Field. Still so much to pretty much define in this constantly evolving company too, that in my opinion has had some of the greatest professional wrestling showcase in this last year, couple years and a half too.
Yeah, and to your point, Noah, like I've been calling those events with you on Jeff Meacham's podcast, and I've been so blown away with how far they've come despite everything they've had to go. Like, because their X division probably is the best I've seen since the class of 05. Their Knockouts division is probably the best run I've ever seen it run. And their main event division and their mid-card division is firing on all cylinders as well. They are doing great right now as far as quality goes. Even if they're not necessarily well-known now because of all the mistakes they made in the past, this current regime with Scott D'Amore and the lot there is doing great shit for Impact. I have been thoroughly impressed, and I'm stoked for Slammiversary this year. And I never thought I didn't think I'd be saying that in 2021, but I'm stoked this year for 20 years of Impact.
Well, as someone who was there live last year and saw Sami Callihan versus Kenny Omega live, Cairo, I have to imagine what is going to be our biggest takeaway after what unfolded following that. But what have been your thoughts lately of Impact Wrestling, whether it's the knockouts, the presentation, how this company has thrived with the new and the old? Give us some of your takeaways as we approach their 20th.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say Impact is something that I watch consistently. But that's only because there's just so much wrestling, and I feel like AEW is like the one consistent thing that I watch. Because like I started a new job recently that has a lot of work hours, but it's been pretty great. But every time I tune in, I will say that I'm happy that Impact is in the spot that it's in right now. Because when you look at Impact like 10 years ago, yeah. Everyone's reaction is basically it. So I'm really happy that they're in a much better spot now, and that the fans who do watch Impact, like it's a very like niche fan base, but like the fans who watch it do love it a lot, and they're so passionate about the wrestlers, and I think it's one of the more unique wrestling communities out there actually. So I'm happy that Impact like has the success that it has. Like I know it's not one of the top 2 brands in the entire country, but sometimes that doesn't really matter really, like as long as Impact's keeping the fans happy and giving them really unique matchups. Like I'm happy that Impact is at its current state, because that certainly wasn't the case when I was in high school 10 years ago. We had the whole Aces and Eights, all that.
Even and the worst part is that the only good thing about that was Bully Ray on the mic, and like even in the ring he was decent, but
yeah,
man, they screwed the pooch on that whole angle bad.
For sure.
Like that's what turned me off from the whole product. Is just
the only good thing that came out of that was Bobby Roode, the it factor of professional wrestling, being the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, where he held down that company on his back for the better part of a year and a half, and then Austin Aries happened.
Also, I will be right back.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And King, again, you've been starting to watch Impact Wrestling as well as we approach Slammiversary. We've seen the crossovers now. We've kind of called Impact Wrestling the beacon of the professional wrestling industry because everything seems to go through there. Honestly, it is the alternative, and it's been the alternative in the wrestling industry. It has its niche, but everybody to and from can recognize something or someone that is currently in or gone through Impact Wrestling. So give some of your thoughts and takeaways as we approach Slammiversary.
Last year, I used to watch Impact. I went back to watching Impact consistently. This year has been, like Cairo touched on, it's been, here and there because, like she said, there's been too much wrestling going on. I mean, jeez, I still have to get up like you sometimes and watch New Japan on certain occasions. But when it comes to Impact, I feel like, I'm glad it's back on the right track. Yes, it's not well known as what it used to be of, on the Spike TVs and all that. But I'm glad to where, it's finally getting that positive talk of especially the Knockouts division. I mean, the Knockouts division has been top notch. I mean, when it comes to women's wrestling, you always got to put Impact as basically in the top three conversation when it comes to women's wrestling, how it's properly booked. Plus, you have, of course, we will talk about it, later on, but you have now a Bullet Club version in Impact as well. Like, first you had Chris Bay. First you had Jay White come over along with G.O.D., but Jay White kicked G.O.D. out. But now you have Chris Bay, and now the
Ace
Good
Austin.
Brothers coming back into the fold, and now Ace Austin. It's like the Bullet Club, as I like to call it, the Bullet Club virus in a good way. The Bullet Club virus is just spreading.
Yeah.
It's just spreading everywhere in the professional wrestling landscape.
Again.
Now it's basically touched with Impact.
And they already touched on AEW, especially with the Undisputed Elite being associated now with it. So they're
and with the Good
everything.
Brothers facing the Briscoes at Slammiversary for the Impact Tag Team Championships, which I think that's going to be my potential to be another match of the year candidate in the tag team matches landscape, in my opinion, because because you got the Briscoes, and we've seen the Briscoes throughout all of their career, especially this year alone, putting up bangers, especially the one with FTR Supercard of Honor. I expect no difference.
Them boys.
I expect no difference here with the Good Brothers at Slammiversary. I expect no difference. This is going to be another tag team banger of a match, especially when you have Gallows and Anderson and Jay and Mark in the same ring. No doubt.
Agreed. Absolutely. I'm with you. I mean, Impact, again, firing on all cylinders. Every division actually is great right now. Like, even the Knockouts division. The Knockouts division's great. The Tag Team division's great. The X division's great. The main event scene is great. I'm looking forward to what they're doing, man. It's getting great, and I'm all here for it, man. I'm glad that Impact is finally, getting on the right track as far as things are concerned that way. Real quick, before we move on to the next show, which is AlwayZ, can't even speak.
AlwayZ Ready, hosted by the NWA.
Yeah, AlwayZ Ready, hosted by the NWA, and what's going on over in the NWA side of things. I do want to read some comments here. We actually got a couple comments in the live chat. Dylan Dufree says, Noah! With a little diss emoji. And
What
he
up?
says, I want the old color cage back too. So he is not a fan of the red crate of hate either. So there you go.
Thank you. A cell is silver. Simple as that.
Nope.
That's all I got to say
about that. A crate is red. A crate is red for sure. And then
and it holds milk.
And then we got 25 Prez TTM did some weird emoji thing that I kind of can't read because my it weird.
I speak words, not emojis, good people. Just saying.
Normally I can speak emojis. I just can't fucking tell what the fuck this emoji is. I don't know what it is. Sorry, 25. I don't know.
What else you got there?
There you
That's
go.
funny.
But yeah, AlwayZ Ready.
So yeah, the NWA, they're hosting their next pay-per-view, being headlined, of course, by the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, which James is extremely happy to finally see. And that is Matt Cardona, but he might be injured right now, so we'll have to see how that comes into play towards Saturday. Because,
injury.
spoiler alert, we saw Rich Swann take the Digital Media Championship from him, a title defined by Impact Wrestling, on the internet. An independent wrestling show, Pro Wrestling Revolver. But Matt Cardona did not let him leave with the title. He low-blowed him and basically squandered off with it. We've also seen, of course, Chelsea Green contend with the likes of Mia Yim and Jordan Grace, preparing for Queen of the Mountain. We also know she has had a bit of animosity and definitely want to put her claim towards the Burke, where, in my opinion, when I talk about women's wrestling, there is no stronger personified, defined, long-reigning women's champion in this day and era of women's professional wrestling, in my opinion, than Camille. the Brick House, the bearer of the Burke, that successfully won this title against the Professor, Serena Deeb. And say what you want about Serena Deeb, she really doesn't know what the fans might think about her and her professional wrestling. All she cares about is leaving a legacy and making this industry better. She is constantly doing that. Thank you, Serena Deeb. Keep bringing what you're doing. That being said, we know that NWA is going to have all the championships on the line as my home state girl, current CCWFL Women's Champion. I believe she has another title, too. Keep killing it. Kylan King from Painesville, Cleveland, Ohio will be tending against Camille for the NWA Women's World Championship. We also know that it will be the real world champion, the deal maker, the national treasure, Nick Aldis, going after, again, the 10 pounds of gold against Matt Cardona. We have women tag team champions on the line as the Hex take on Kenzie Page and her partner, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Apologies. The NWA National Television Championship will be on the line, as well as the Light Heavyweight Championship and the NWA Tag Team Championships that Rebellion has had a stranglehold on. So there's a lot of things going on in the NWA as well. As of course, they have 2 presentations weekly with NWA Power, sometimes Power Surge, and also, of course, NWA USA that you see on Saturdays, produced exclusively more so by Tim Storm, Mama Storm's favorite boy. That being said, I'm looking forward to this show. For me, NWA has kind of been in its own renaissance ever since being under the Billy Corgan era, where really Billy Corgan doesn't dictate it. He lets the wrestlers basically guide what NWA is going to be.
We know.
Who's going to make the opportunity, etc. So I know that you all probably don't keep up with NWA as much as I. Maybe not, as strong in all the divisions, but I think they have a pretty good women's division per se, too. And I've enjoyed what the likes of Natalia Markova and Kylan King have brought forward, Chelsea Green, and now we have Camille, who at the end of the day, she just wants to represent the NWA proudly and what the Burke stands for, too. So what are y'all's thoughts ahead of this coming pay-per-view this Saturday?
I'll be honest, for me, the only thing that really has my interest is Matt Cardona and the fact that Aaron Stevens having his retirement match.
Yes, that was the other thing that was recently added too. It's his send-off.
Yeah, so those are the 2 things that interest me the most. For me, here's my deal. As much as I appreciate that Billy Corgan was trying to let the wrestlers control the company, there is a balance that you need to have sometimes, and Billy Corgan clearly did not have that balance. He let Aldis walk all over him when Aldis had an opportunity to go to AEW on Turner Network Television, first time in however many years, and defend the NWA World's title during the pandemic. He refused to do it, and the NWA is now paying for it. Because now they had to find a whole new person that actually could get some buzz for the company. And they found that in Matt Cardona. God forbid his injury's not that serious. Is it too little too late? Because remember, he's a workhorse right now in all these other places. Aldis really wasn't. And Aldis is, doing. He could have been the guy that defended the title everywhere in any promotion, and he chose to just keep it in the NWA, and it cost him. And they're suffering for this now. And if Cardona is out hurt, this is bad news for the NWA. I mean, genuinely speaking, I don't know what is going to go down. I mean, they're in a worse financial situation than Impact was not even 10 years ago. And that's saying a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of people paying this extra Fight TV deal to watch this pay-per-view. Listen, I'd love to tell you that this company is thriving. I would love to say that, but I wouldn't be honest if I said that. This company is got a lot they need to fix, and they operate. Specifically, all this is operated like a hothead, and any potential subscribers they could have gotten on this Fight TV deal that they got going on is gonna cost them big time. So without a doubt, we'll see what happens, but those are my 2 things I'm looking forward to on the pay-per-view period. So
curious that Mickey James isn't booked for this show, but instead we have La Vera Loca, Taya Valkyrie, coming in on the pay-per-view facing Natalia Markova. And of course, it was Mickey James that wanted to really push forward women's wrestling, not just in the WWE, but in general. And there's been like no announcements or anything towards maybe another Empower special too. So I'm curious what this Always Ready might lead to, and if they might call an audible in the main event again too. Honestly, Mickey James might get involved in that, so we'll have to wait and see. King, is there anything you want to say regarding the NWA and their upcoming show? Anybody on the roster and how far their presentation goes?
The only thing I can pretty much say that I'm looking forward to, and I saw the announcement, was Samuel Shaw, the formerly known Dexter Lumis. He is going to be at the show. I can't wait to see what he brings to the table for their show, but that is the only thing I'm looking forward to besides Cardona, the obvious. So Samuel Shaw is my biggest takeaway of what he can bring to the NWA, especially at that show. Like, I'm looking forward to see what happens with that.
Yeah, you know, it's really sad because not even a couple years ago, NWA Power was like the right up there with Dynamite on being the show of the week every week. It was
the hot ticket.
Really good. And there was so many good guys on that roster, recognizable names, recognizable stars mixed in with new talent that was actually decent.
Some of which are on AEW now, James.
Exactly. And now it's not even close to that anymore. I mean, it's sad where we're at, man. When it comes to the NWA, it could have been something. It really could have been, because all they would have had to do is open that forbidden door, and I mean all the way, not just a crack like they have. All they had to do was that, and they could have gotten all the guys that went to AEW back into the fold. That's the depressing part about this. Like, Aldis, one decision by Aldis cost the company so much. So much. And I will always go back to that. Aldis, you dropped the ball. And I'm not afraid to say that to you. I'd say that to your face, too. You dropped the ball for the NWA. And now everybody else is left trying to fix your mistake, including Matt Cardona, who might just show up on the pay-per-view even if he's seriously injured. Which, God forbid, that's the case, by the way. I mean, goddamn, they're, just, it ain't worth, killing yourself over Cardona. You're trying your best. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, anytime I hear the NWA, like, I want to be excited, and then I hear some of the names on the undercard you mentioned, and like, God, what happened to this undercard? Like, I remember Hard Times and how great of a show that was, and compared to this now, oh my fuck. It's bad. Especially when you got Murphy running around, oh my God.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're just going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, probably.
Moving on from there, though, let's go ahead and talk about some other stuff, some little quick notes. First off, we know that great female commentator in Veda Scott. She recently got married to Speedball Mike Bailey.
Hey, congrats!
We saw a great mixed tag team contest with Speedball and Masha Slammiversary, who's still undefeated currently in Impact Wrestling. But let's go ahead and change subtendence to part of the Forbidden Doors. We look at what's been going on lately in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Most recently, of course, we had Best of the Juniors, and before that, we had Capital Collision, and boy, has Bullet Club been taking charge of things and being the mainstay of the industry with a new member. Yeah, I'll put it up too. Too sweet. As we saw at Capital Collision, we finally got IWGP United States Champion crowned during a four-way between Tanahashi, Moxley, Ospreay, and the latest member they brought in back at Dontaku. I'm, of course, talking about now Juice Robinson, who once again now holds the IWGP United States Championship. We also saw back at Dontaku that Bullet Club's Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale have gained the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And of course, we're hyping up that Jay White will challenge Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship as we approach Dominion. Other events that have been involved, we've seen constant clashes with the Fat Three versus the LA Dojo. LA Dojo getting the better of them. in the end. And we saw a fight to remember between Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii. Good freaking lord, how good of a match that was. Definitely my match of the night from that fun special. And now we move forward as the Best Super Juniors concluded. It was open borders. We have Wheeler Yuta representing the Blackpool Combat Club in AEW, the current Ring of Honor Pure Champion. A couple of losses, maybe some opponents to fame about, including one, Robbie Eagles. We had the X Division champion involved, representing Impact Wrestling, and Ace Austin, definitely a fan favorite. And we thought we were going to have the Zesty Friends after he and Alex Zane put out one of the bangers of this entire thing. But, as we'll talk about shortly, it was not meant to be. When it came down to ELP and Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado, and I believe the last one was it Show? I don't recall. No, it was, what did El Desperado face in the finals that almost broke his neck? Oh yeah, that was ELP versus El Desperado. Then Hiromu Takahashi versus Taiji Ishimori. That's what I forgot about. As the Bone Soldier, of course, he had a couple of surprising losses too. But it seemed more so that Best Super Juniors was not only, in the end of the day, how far junior heavyweight wrestling has become through Junior Thunder Liger, let's just be honest here in the very beginning, as well as other great pioneers like Rey Mysterio Jr. But we, of course, had the finale between Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado. People were holding out for El Desperado, but Hiromu is still the standard bearer, now doing it 3 years in a freaking row, and he is a 4-time winner. But fun thing is, that was not the only big highlight that happened at the Nippon Budokan during the finale, as Bullet Club continues to grow, because once again, they had an ace up their sleeve. Literally, as Ace Austin, as you alluded to earlier, has now officially joined Bullet Club under New Japan Pro Wrestling, and fans return too through Kenta. So gentlemen, here we stand, literally within a week of Dominion. And boy, how fans have gotten even more interested when you think about Dominion and all the other wrestling companies, particularly AEW. Because as we learned this past Friday on Rampage, and again, this is the risk of the industries, it happens live, people get injured too. The guy that you thought was going to once again bring you a summer of his season stopped dead in his tracks before it even began in the most humbling, heartbreaking way possible. CM Punk, ladies and gentlemen, is out and due for surgery with a busted wheel, per se. But again, just a bump in the road. However, the way that is now being handled, we will have an interim champion crown through both work done under AEW and NJPW. Where you thought you were going to get the best in the world versus the Ace, now it might be the Ace or the Savage Warrior versus Jon Moxley, or a winner of a Battle Royal this Wednesday. And that all gets figured out literally within a week from today. That will be the main event of Forbidden Door. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now ask you, what is ahead for us considering this Dynamite taking a whole different direction and NJPW's Dominion 2? And how does that all fit into the Forbidden Door? What truly is in store? Kairos, since you just came back, and I know you definitely enjoy the best of both worlds, why don't you take it away and give us your thoughts towards both of these events to come and what has transpired?
Had to take care of something in my house, but that's all been settled now. But I am very excited for Forbidden Door. I will actually be at Forbidden Door at the end of this month, so that'll be very exciting. But having said that, it's definitely taken a very fascinating turn. I was excited when Punk versus Tanahashi was announced, but now Punk's injured, and he's going to be off, he's going to spend time off for a while. And that certainly not only makes Forbidden Door interesting, but it also makes Dominion fascinating, because we have that one match that'll determine the #1 contender on New Japan side. So I believe it's Tanahashi versus Gojo.
You would be correct. These two are no strangers to each other, competing multiple times against each other in G1 Climax. And while we don't have the overall record singles-wise with these two, I think the Ace has gotten the better more often of the Savage Warrior, too.
Absolutely. So, on the AEW side at least, I'm 100% in on, Moxley being, the rep for AEW. When I think about it.
It's got to be Tanahashi and Moxley. It has to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been teasing it for, forever, basically.
Yeah, for years
I think originally, I think that was supposed to be the match at All Out, because I remember hearing that being rumored for All Out, but then something, I guess, It was
Something
something with
came
travel that happened.
And we
And
got
then they-
Coach Kojima.
Yes, especially Kojima.
Still great,
But,
Mr.
like,
Lariato.
But like when I think about it, like Moxley, and I'm pulling for Moxley for the entire thing. No bias or anything, but like when you think about it, Moxley won the AEW World Championship literally right before the pandemic hit. So he's never had like a proper quote unquote reign
He was
with
the
a full
champion of the
audience.
pandemic.
Yep. And I think like he's honestly in the running for Wrestler of the Year for me because of the quality of matches and the passion and enthusiasm he has shown, whether it's in AEW or New Japan. Like, I think his work ethic has been amazing.
Or
His work
GCW,
ethic has been amazing.
let's not forget
Yeah.
that. Continue.
And GCW. Thank you. His work ethic has been incredible, and I'd like him to be the AEW rep at Forbidden Door. So you have, considering that's gonna be Mox moving on to Forbidden Door, you have Tanahashi and Goto, both people which Moxley has had history with, and for very fascinating reasons. You can make an argument for both of them.
Yes.
But if they really, really, really want to stick to like kind of a very, very long-term storytelling that's already going on like NJPW Strong, then Tanahashi would probably have to be the person to face Moxley, considering that Tanahashi was in the main event spot anyway with CM Punk. So
yeah, you might as well just go with it. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's just, like I said, they called an audible and they made a match out of it. And like you said, both of these men, they do have history with John Moxley to a degree. I believe John Moxley and Goto did actually face each other in that block. But Tanahashi was in the other block because when John Moxley was in the G1, he was in the B block, having match of the year candidates with the likes of Shingo Takagi and Tomoyo Ishii, where he adapted his style on the fly. No two matches were the same until freaking Goto! Ah, my anxiety! That spoiling idiot! Friggin' ruined everything, and then Jay White got the better of John. For those that don't know, Toru Yano makes my skin crawl, but I digress.
I
hate Yano too.
I want to see him
I
go
hate
through
him.
the Forbidden Door. I want to see him versus Orange Cassidy.
I agree. I'm with you. All the memes. Let's go.
Just add Brandon Cutler to it. Why the heck not?
Yeah, just all the comedy geeks. Let's go.
No Cutler needed. No Cutler needed.
Gimmick battle royal. Let's go.
How much can we piss Jim Cornette off?
Yeah.
Maybe just to piss them off, I actually would like that. Oh, maybe they could do like a Rambo like they do at Wrestle Kingdom before Forbidden Door starts with all these type of people. I actually like that idea a lot now that I think about it. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's pretty much all that I had. Like,
all right. King, I haven't heard much from you. Again, you might be a little bit out of tune when it comes to the NWA. We talked a little bit about Impact Wrestling for Shaolin too, but give us your thoughts towards Forbidden Door and what they're doing with the AEW Interim World Championship.
I am glad. At first, when they first announced the whole interim thing, I was like, okay, what's going on? I'm confused. Like, because the way how they explained it was just a whole bunch of, you was trying to put the pieces together like a puzzle. Like the way how they explained it.
Yeah, it was so
bad.
Jericho and CM Punk's presentation on Rampage. Yeah, it was a
like
mess.
it was just a mess. So, but I'm glad they came out a day later, even though Jeff, on the one who runs their AEW Twitter account, do better put a white background next time instead of have to edit the tweet. Just saying, I had to save you on that one because I had to save the picture. But I'm glad they did explain it about the Eliminator series. I'm glad they came out and basically explained it. And basically, Cairo, you touched on it. Moxley should be the one to represent AEW. I like that. It's got to be Moxley and Tanahashi. You guys touched on it. The story is there. The story is there, and it only makes sense if you have it for an interim world championship, especially at the Forbidden Door at the United Center in Chicago. It makes sense, especially at I'm talking about a big NBA stadium like that. Yes, I am an NBA fan. So, it only makes sense. The story's been there since last year, Resurgence. It's been there.
Yeah, fair enough.
James, anything further to add with the way they're handling this and how you feel this all plays when you got the Dominion and literally AEW this Wednesday?
I'm looking forward to what the crossover stuff is going to be like for the next few weeks because there are still matches that they're rumored that I first off, I wanted to see Tanahashi and Moxley square up against each other for so long now. I'm ready to go.
Years.
Yeah, so I'm ready to go with that, and I can't wait to see that match. Now that they got that going, I also can't wait to see. I really hope that they do Hangman and Okada, because I think that would make a lot more sense, because Lariat versus Lariat. I don't think a lot of people are saying Danielson, but you gotta do Sabre Jr. and Danielson again. Long-term storytelling. I mean that writes itself. You don't do that match, what are you doing? Like that's a match you absolutely should be doing. Maybe depending on is Ospreay healed yet? Is he all right now?
It's funny you mentioned that, because we got our Dominion card, and apparently there will be a three-way dance to crown IWGP United States champion. Rock Hard Juice Robinson defends the gold against the former champion who had to vacate in the first place, Coke Skull Sonata, and Will Ospreay.
Okay, so that's happening. Okay. So if Ospreay wins, which he probably should, I would have him defend a United States Championship against it's weird, because my first instinct is Dante Martin, but I realize he's not really doing the high-flying stuff as much as he used to anymore. So
he's the Commonwealth Kingpin, grounded, aggressive striker.
Yeah, he's kind of changed up his style now. So maybe when we talk about the, you mentioned that. What about Hook?
Hook going to play here. Put him up against a young lion.
Yeah. Well, think about it. If he's ground and pound, and then you got Hook, who's the same Smash Mouth style now. You know, and the way you can build it too is the Dawn of Brooklyn versus the Kingpin of the Commonwealth. There you go. I mean, that's your right.
Well, Ospreay did say that he wants to face AEW homegrown talent. There you go.
So there's no more homegrown than I can think of. Freaking Hook. Send Hook
to the United Center. That's all I gotta say about that.
Seriously,
but if you do a tag match. Because I know the United Empire, Cobb and Great O'Connor were teasing that they want a shot at the ROH Tag Team titles.
Yep.
And also, they ruined a match with Roppongi Vice and FTR. So Roppongi Vice has claims to be a part of that too. It could be a three-way dance.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be.
That's absolutely true. I could see a three-way crossover there in that match with the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, like representing Ring of Honor in that regard.
I feel a lot of the championships at Dominion, the way they go is going to define whether or not they're involved on, I feel like, Forbidden Door. I mean, think about it. You got Tama Tonga, the good guy, not really back anymore, the good guy. He defends the title against Machine Gun Carl Anderson, the Never Openweight Championship. We wonder what the future of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship is going to be, where 6 or 9, good grief almighty, challenge in a triple threat tag against United Empire's TJP and the Fireball, and also Aaron Hanare, and Tensen in a 6-man tag preview, And then you talked about Crystal Khan and Jeff Cobb. They're going after, it sounds like, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions again, challenging your boys, King, that took them from in the first place in that three-way dance. Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. And freaking Yano is facing Luke Gallows one-on-one after messing with him. Not a wise move. Of course, we got tag team previews now with the newest member of Bullet Club tagging alongside ELP and Tajimori the Bone Soldier, taking on Hiromu, Naito, and Bushi. Shigeru Takagi once again defends the KLBW trophy against the Holy Emperor Taiji. We talked about the three-way United States title dance with Ospreay, Sonata, and Rock Hard Juice Robinson. And as far as Sabre Jr. goes, right now he might be looking at 6-man gold, James, as it seems that Dangerous Tekkas, Zack Sabre Jr., El Desperado, and Yoshinobu Kawamura will be taking on the House of Torture in 6-man tag team action.
Oh, the House of Torture.
Oh, my God.
The ball that was dropped with the House of Torture.
Big time. Let's not go there. Hiroshi Tanahashi, of course, challenges Roki Goto for the right to access Forbidden Door and be in the main event for the interim AEW World Championship. And then, of course, it all comes down to the main event where Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada defends the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Switchblade Jay White. The only accolade Switchblade has yet to get is in the entire pro wrestling life.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of intrigue, to say the least, when it comes to Dominion, and the fact they booked the IWGP Junior Heavyweights, both title matches per se, on New Japan Road following that, but still right before Forbidden Door. Again, how much involvement champion-wise are we going to see here? How much of this is going to be literally AEW versus NJPW, or like AEW showcase, NJPW showcase? How they structure this to make it different than G1 Supercard per se, which you went to live, James.
Yes, I did go to live. I was there live for that first crossover event, which I enjoyed all throughout because I was live. So that probably wasn't better taped. But I have to ask, what is the Never Openweight title situation like? What are the rules on that? Is it no DQ? It's no DQ.
The Never Openweight title is a standard championship, but it challenges your spirit, your will, your mentality. A certain class of warriors, professional wrestlers, are worthy of not only contending, but holding this championship. I'm talking about the likes of Hiroki Goto, Minoru Suzuki, Katsuyori Shibata, Kenta, and of course, my boy, and the key player in Never Openweight, period, strong style professional wrestling, the Stone Pit Bull, Tomohiro Ishii. Now it is currently being held by the good guy, Tama Tonga, one part of GOD. But he now defends it against former G1 Climax finalists, and Kyle, we gotta think about when this field's gonna be developed too, and what's gonna be involved in that as well, the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting for sure. The reason I brought up the Never Openweight scenario is I don't mind seeing the Never Openweight champion take on the FTW champion. They're one and the same belt, right? In theory. So why not?
I feel like one is more so a example of an attitude you specify versus a title that became something of its own right, that you thought was going to be for a certain class, and to a degree it is, but honestly, when you contend or hold the Neverweight Championship, you're lucky to survive beyond, let alone at, one defense. And many people have failed at that, Shingo Takagi. After Minoru Suzuki dropped him at the Jingu Stadium baseball show. And again, you talked about earlier Naito. What if he does, again, he's not asking for a challenger. He's waiting for somebody to challenge him. He fears they want him, they'll step up towards him. There's a lot of different ways that this build can go, but as far as right now, the AEW Championship picture, it all comes down to this Wednesday. So this comes down to this. Who's in that Battle Royale per se that can give a main event caliber match against Jon Moxley and still be preserved?
Gotta be Tanahashi to me. It's gotta be Tanahashi, because Tanahashi doesn't give a shit about... He will go like he's 20. Like, still. At his age, so...
Yeah, again, his knees are damaged beyond all belief, as we know, Cairo. But looking at this Wednesday, though, AEW versus AEW, Jon Moxley versus Blank in the main event. Who you put in that spot?
Who do you got, Cairo, on that spot?
Oh, sorry. I heard my name, but then my headset kind of, fizzled. Noah knows, because he does the show with me. I'm sure repeat that one more time.
That's fun. I just, I was thinking about this Wednesday, Battle Royale. Somebody facing Jon Moxley in the main event of Dynamite. Do we see a first? Do we recall history? Do we put on a bloody, brutal classic if he's cleared and actually wins? Who could contend against Jon Moxley this Wednesday on Dynamite in the main event?
Well, I would say Bryan Danielson, but he's injured right now.
Yeah.
Right. That was my first
I
shot.
would say Adam Cole, but he's also injured right now.
Yes.
That's a good
I got one for you, because it actually makes all the sense in the world, and they don't have many options currently right now. Go to the well with Lance Archer one more time.
He does have history in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He did ask one more time to go up against
if they want to tear our hearts even more, maybe Eddie Kingston.
No. You don't do Eddie Kingston.
I'd be okay with that matchup though.
Because so Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson have this connection with the Blackpool Combat Club, right? And Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley also have a history together. Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston are pretty much not, they tag for Anarchy in the Arena, but there's obvious tension here.
Well, you could create tension between Moxley and Kingston, because Mox wants to get his hands on Tanahashi so bad, and now Kingston's trying to get in his way.
And the thing about Moxley is he knows Kingston 100% all the time. He's real, but even this past Friday, he's like, "You are one guy hard to like." It's like, I know, man. I'm just this. It's I am what I am. I'm not a likable fella. I'm just
So
a
if they really want to tear our hearts apart, they could do that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we all think that Eddie Kingston. Eric put out the tweet. Eddie Kingston should be champion next year.
They could be super bold and run Hangman. Because Hangman versus Moxley, I don't know if you remember, but Hangman versus Moxley was supposed to happen.
Right.
Because they were building to that. But then Moxley had to go to rehab.
That's true. That is true.
So they mixed that storyline. So if they want to finally run Hangman versus Moxley and then have Hangman lose, which would then further his character arc, then they could obviously do that.
I also think about this.
You know what? I'm going to go with Hangman. I'm going with Hangman.
But doesn't Hangman got
Yes.
David Finley
he has a match
Wednesday?
though.
He's facing David Finley.
I think he's fighting David Finley because he's.
I forgot.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he knows he's got that match coming up with Okada. So
that's the reason why I feel like
I don't even think he should be taking a loss, honestly, just for that alone. Like, because he's
pretty
got
sure
to
that
fight
he
Okada.
won't be in that match. But I was also thinking about this.
I think he's losing. I think he's losing to Okada.
I mean, again, guys, Blake versus Okada. How do you bet against Okada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's gonna be a hell of a match, though, and I don't want to get
Hangman. Hangman is literally going through Hangman is reverse Kenny Omega right now.
Yes.
And I mean this because when Kenny won the title, that's when he started having like those like heelish mentalities and viewpoints and stuff like that.
He turned his character a whole 360 with the help of Don Callis.
Like, it was the claim of the title that made him go, like, you know, arrogant.
Yes.
It's Hangman's loss of the title that is making Hangman go in that direction, I anticipate.
Especially, too, considering the fact that, you know, he tried to go that direction, and and because he didn't, it cost him to lose the title by staying true to his word or whatever.
So literally, reverse Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
I have an interesting booking idea for y'all here.
Go for it.
What if they completely flip this on its head because we're all so keen that it's going to be Moxley? What if they went with Tanahashi as the interim champion and do a unification match on Dynamite between him and Okada on U.S. soil?
That'd be insane.
That would be nuts.
Wow.
And I'd
The
be
standard
for it.
bearers. The standard bearers of Wrestle Kingdom, to say the least.
And you put that on Dynamite, that could set up a lot. And
Good.
And the idea being that whoever wins is gonna take on Punk to unify all three belts.
That's the end game.
That's a hell of a fucking way to bring Punk back to having him win 3 belts.
Yeah.
Whoever, and you can have Okada or Naito, or Naito, listen to me, or Tanahashi win that. Don't matter to me. But, like, if you go with that, and you put in the biggest star, one of the biggest stars in Japan versus one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling in the U.S., you're bound to sell some tickets.
Absolutely.
I also think about
That's my end game with it.
I also think about this, though, going into Forbidden Door. Like, you think about, John Moxley versus somebody within AEW. What if they flip the script on us and somebody from NJPW is in that Battle Royale? Like Tomohiro Ishii or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And they revisit Tomohiro Ishii versus John Moxley in the main event of Dynamite.
Yeah,
that was a
true.
G1 Climax standout.
Yeah, that's true, too. I mean, anything could happen with this crossover, man. And especially with Punk semi-injured right now for 6 weeks, this is gonna spin everything into a work here. So.
Do you guys at all maybe see somehow them booking for Forbidden Door, despite the fact he faced flying Kota Ibushi?
Man, yeah, that's a difficult question, honestly.
Well, Kota isn't like 100% yet.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
Yeah.
Especially with all the stuff going on with Kodo and New Japan and stuff.
Yeah, I don't expect him
It's one
to
thing to be
be
physical 100%, it's another thing to be mentally 100%.
Yeah,
and we know he's not.
It's curious. It does have me curious. King, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, please elaborate. Fantasy book. What ifs? Talk.
Y'all saying like, but what if here's another one I've seen float around on Twitter. What if Goto beats Tanahashi and he goes to Forbidden Door?
Could happen. Could happen.
Moxley versus Goto.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that float around as well.
It's not as unpredictable as people are claiming it is. It's not
Yeah.
like people are saying like, oh, this is so predictable. Not really. There's
Not
many ways
really.
they could go with this, and there's many ways they could go a different direction that the fans will be happy with as well. Like, so I don't think it's as unpredictable as people are making it out.
This is the main event of Forbidden Door. The main event of Forbidden Door is to crown the interim AEW World Champion. So you got 4 parties, 3 that are known, and 1 complete unknown that could literally be the surprise factor here, all come into play here, and this closes the show. They got fought whatever is before this, including Heyman versus Okada.
I mean, I have a thought. Like, I have a feeling this isn't going to go over very well, but it's a thought. And this, my NJPW history isn't the best, but I'm just going to guess here. I don't know if you guys have thrown this name out there because I don't think he has a match on Dynamite because I was eating dinner when you guys started talking about this. They're going to have Chris Jericho in the Battle Royal and have him beat Moxley because, one, there's a history between Moxley and Jericho. Since Moxley beat him for the belt, they never really...
Oh! That's... No, that... Owen, that might be...
You're onto something there, boy.
That might be the way they go, actually.
And
then they do...
the way they go.
And Tanahashi was the one that first congratulated Jericho from NJPW on his 5th anniversary, and we saw Jericho versus Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom where Tanahashi tapped out to a fundamental move.
Yeah, go with Jericho. You know what? No, there is no other way to go about it on this one. Go with Jericho. Go with Jericho to be the guy.
I wouldn't say there's no other way to go about it, but again, there's continuity there as well.
There's a lot of continuity there that I didn't even realize until Owen brought it up. Honest to God,
especially
I can't believe no one said Chris Jericho.
Look at me! I come back here. I eat dinner and I come back here and just completely change everybody's minds. Like, look at this.
That's really though of how much what ifs and the possibilities. And we're just talking about the main event of Forbidden Door. We have no idea what the rest of the card is going to look like. We got an idea maybe for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Not to mention what sort of women influence might be involved here. Will you actually get Stardom versus AEW?
Right.
Now the question, I don't know if anyone's asked this question because, like I said, I've been away. What's the condition of Jonathan Gresham when it comes to the ROH World Championship?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question, actually.
Give me him versus Zack Sabre Jr. Actually.
Oh my God! Yes.
Well, isn't he? Will he be ready to come back by Forbidden Door though?
I don't know. I think he's seriously injured too. We have an injury bug. I'm convinced. We have an injury bug, boys. We have an injury bug, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we got.
The summer of injuries in the wrestling industry. Good grief.
Don't say it like that.
That's not what it is right now.
Just wait, though. Imagine the injuries that are going to happen once this show is over. Oh my God.
Now, to be fair, we're talking about West Side wrestlers taking on the definition of protect your neck, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Do you do a scenario with the Lucha Brothers? Do you put the Lucha Brothers on this card to fight a New Japan tag team that's like established?
Trying to fake
if you're doing this whole Forbidden Door concept, that's like one of the first things I'm booking is a AAA tag team style versus the New Japan tag team style.
They do have that CML influence, but honestly, Hiromu and Bushi challenging the Lucha Brothers does intrigue me.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I know it's not. I know it's not. NJPW, and I don't know if we even have the belts by then, but I would love to see, I don't know if you know this team, I would love to see Lawi Bellion versus the Lucha Brothers for the NWA. For the NWA World Tag Team title.
They've had a stranglehold, and they are from AAA. They've had a stranglehold on the NWA World Tag Team Championships. And
I can see that.
You are definitely onto something there. And again, we talk about the Forbidden Door. Yeah, at the heart, it's AEW, NJPW. Who's to say there won't be some sort of other influence, maybe Impact per se, which seems the most realistic. And obviously Ring of Honor, now that Ring of Honor is underneath the umbrella of Tony Khan.
That. Go ahead.
I know, Owen, I'm going to say, Owen, you touched on Jonathan Gresham to see if he's cleared. Yeah, he's been cleared for a few weeks now. Jonathan Gresham.
Oh, shit. So he's ready to come back then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Just
might
be back.
I want him.
Oh, man.
Do you want a triple threat match with him, Joe, and Jay Lethal then, since Jonathan Gresham was...
Personally, I don't think you do a cross between guys. I think you have to do Lethal versus Gresham on the show. That's me. If I'm booking it, that's me. That's how I do it. Or you book it, or at the very least,
showcase match.
Or at the very least, Battle of the Belts 3. One of those two shows.
I see more realistically that maybe be at Battle of the Belts 3, depending on when they book Joe versus Jay Lethal. And honestly, I could see that at maybe, if not Road Rager, some sort of show they have next month in July. But speaking of shows, guys, Regal said it. We got friggin' Blood and Guts coming up. What the hell is going to happen here?
Literally the week after fucking Forbidden Door. Crazy.
I'm really excited about this.
It's like 3 days after Forbidden Door.
It's the same week, literally. It's the fallout after Forbidden Door. The Dynamite following that pay-per-view.
That's crazy. Holy shit.
I'm really excited about Blood and Guts, too, because even though they kind of screwed up the first one, I feel like they're going to learn from their mistakes this time, and this is going to be like a hell of a Blood and Guts this time. I think this is going to...
Yeah. I mean, especially after if the anarchy in the arena is anything to fucking go by. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we're in for a wild ride.
We still technically don't even know who's gonna be on Eddie Kidd. We only know Moxley. We don't even know who's gonna be on Eddie Kidd's team. I'm assuming it's gonna be Santana and Ortiz, but I think it's gonna depend on. I'm assuming he'll be back by then. Bryan Danielson's injury status and all that type of stuff.
I still think they should have done LAX versus the entirety of LAX versus the Jericho Appreciation Society, but that's just me.
Do that off Ash Stadium for all we know. You know they're heading back there.
Yeah, true. That's actually fair. If the feud goes that long, Jesus Christ, that seems like a long time to stretch out a feud. Real quick, before we wrap things up here, Owen, give your full thoughts to Forbidden Door, because you haven't really touched on like your general thoughts. Everybody else knows, but you haven't yet on your own show.
Like, I'm really excited about it. I can't really give my take on like the NJPW stuff, because NJPW is like impossible to watch if you like work and all that type of stuff. I always try to watch New Japan, but it seems like there's a show on once a day and it's like 3 hours. It's like I wish there was a way to watch it where like you could just, I don't know. But anyhow, I'm really excited about it just because we've heard about the Forbidden Door for, I think, like 2 years at this point, because you can make, I mean, Cody Rhodes said in his promo, the last promo he ever cut in AEW, he was the one that really started the Forbidden Door, if you really want to think about it. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to see the matches that we never thought that we would see from NJPW and AEW. I think the CM Punk injury kind of sucks, because obviously I think he was going to have a big part of this show. And the stuff with MJF kind of sucks, because had this stuff with MJF not been going down, it really would have been cool to see like MJF face somebody on New Japan, because he's like the least New Japan guy on this that would be on that show. But it is what it is.
You mean call out the fans that watch it, allegedly.
The one match I really want to see that I think no one's really going to point out. I don't even know if he's going to have the belt or if he still has the belt, but at least want to see it. I want to see Bryan Danielson versus Tom Lawler, either for the Strong title or just in general, because that would just be because I think everyone's expecting like these high. I'm not saying I'm against them, but I think we need like a big technical match to show that New Japan's not just about high spots, and I think that'd be the purpose.
You're also adding presentation of the American side of the NJPW brand, which honestly we haven't done. So I respect that, because Tom Lawler has been the standard of New Japan Strong. He's had that belt literally since day one. He hasn't lost it yet.
I would have Bryan Danielson beat him for the belt then, because I don't know who else you have beat. If you do that match and Bryan Danielson doesn't beat him he should just vacate it at this point. So I don't think anyone would beat him.
At this point, looking at NJPW Strong, I don't see anybody. So I think you're onto something there. It just makes me wonder though, how much more Bullet Club presentation are we going to have on Dynamite? We saw Hikuleo. Who else shows up, per se, on the following Dynamites or Rampages to come? What other teases are to be decided here, too? Because, guys, Forbidden Door is literally mere weeks away, and it's the week after Slammiversary, too. Do the events that go down there play a factor in that as well?
Yeah, because Impact's usually, like, the gateway of the Forbidden Doors. Like, I remember one time, it was Slammiversary last year. Jay White showed up on Impact for a few weeks to legit hype up his match with David Finlay coming up at Resurrection or whatever that show was.
Resurgence.
Resurgence.
Yeah. Well, while Impact had a show called Emergence. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah.
No,
that already,
yeah, but different parts of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see what you're saying.
that had already happened. Yeah. I actually want this might be. I want to see not necessarily. I forget the tag team name, but the tag team that Royce Isaacs is in.
Yeah,
I want to see him.
West Coast Wrecking Crew.
Wrecking
West Coast
Crew.
Wrecking Crew. Yeah.
I want to see. I know this is probably not going to happen. I want to see them versus FTO. That would be a hell of a match.
Oh, that'd be interesting. That's a traditionalist match right there.
For sure.
Again, the possibilities
are
between
endless. Yes.
New Japan Strong, AEW, Impact Wrestling, and the fact that each event follows each other. Wednesday, there's Dynamite to determine one half of your Forbidden Door main event. This following Sunday, you got Dominion, determines the other half of the main event, and maybe Okada's status heading in there too. And then the following weekend after that, you have Slammiversary.
Yeah.
Now the question I have,
crazy.
I have about this is, because most of the talent's AEW talent that's hold the belts anyways, do you see AAA having one of their titles, like the AAA Mega Championship, getting defended on this
because
show?
that's on MLW show right now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, so AAA kind of has like an issue where all their talent is just all their champions are just from different companies. It's weird.
I mean, you can make the.
There's not one homegrown talent that has a title there.
AEW and Impact and everywhere else.
AEW, Impact, MLW. There's like I think a couple from other promotions. The only ones that are even the mixed tag is AEW right now. They just brought their
Sammy and Ty.
The question.
Go ahead, Owen, and make this the last thing because we do have to wrap up so that way Noah can make it to his next stream.
I got plenty of time, but we'll also get Cairo's last thoughts here too because I'm curious if we just made her brain wonder of anything else.
The question I have is, isn't technically I mean, I know it's owned by the same guy, but ROH doesn't really own. I think only one title is only has ROH homegrown titles on it, and that's Jonathan Gresham, the world title. Because I think Jones
went through Ring of Honor as well, for those that don't remember. But yeah, since Josh Woods lost the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, you are correct. But then against Samoa Joe, he's also a Ring of Honor Hall of Famer, and that's another thing to consider. Ring of Honor Pure Championship. The first loss in Wheeler Yuta's run at Best of Juniors was to Robbie Eagles. That very well could be a match booked for Forbidden Door under Pure rules.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I actually don't have pretty much anything else to add. Y'all pretty much like nailed it. But I think the only thing I can really say is that like going into the summer, I think the landscape of professional wrestling is fascinating. So I'm just excited to see where it all goes from here.
I agree.
And that's the best way to look at the industry each and every day with what you can actually watch and keep up with too. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, professional fans,
before we end the stream,
ahead,
we are going to do plugs, but I got to get the plug graphic up, so let's plug that, and we'll have Cairo go first. So here we go.
We shall plug it.
Plugs. You can follow me.
All the plugs in the world.
I only have 2 things to plug, so you can follow me on Twitter at Caro__Taro. So there's between Caro and Taro. You can also find me at Wrestling.com. I'm kind of taking a hiatus from writing because there's like a lot going on in my life that I don't really want to get into, but like hopefully I'll write something someday down the line. I'm coming back soon.
There you go. Positive reinforcement. As long as you don't get writer block or burn yourself out. Don't lose your passion, Cairo. We truly appreciate you.
And the Daily Slam, of course. Don't forget to check her and Noah out on the Daily Slam along with
trust me, I'll plug more about that. Don't worry.
King, where can they follow you?
Follow me on Twitter at AMT, Roman numeral 23, number 23. Same thing on Instagram, but the dot is after the Roman numeral 23 and then the number 23. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I mostly talk about wrestling. And of course, Game 2, if you're an NBA fan, Game 2 of the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics game in the NBA Finals. Hopefully we can bounce back from Game 1 Thursday night because that was awful. But yeah.
There you go. What we got on your end? What we got on your end, Noah?
Well, again, guys, this has been an absolute one-of-a-kind pleasure. I definitely look forward to doing this again, too. If we make this a monthly forum, I think we got a new standard for not only the Wrestling Rundown, but the ATW view. But if folks want to find me or know more about me, know this, for I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and Foster1916 for all things wrestling. And shout out to the entire ATW crew, not just the ones here on this panel, too. We will definitely be back with more content, more coverage, more updates, more tweets, more discussions, too. Find me providing live commentary coverage on the Jeff Meacham Network for all these weekends at All Things Wrestling, starting shortly with the Red Creative Hate, and then going from there for NWA Always Ready. Then following that, we go into Dominion, literally 1 week from today. Holy hell. And then 1 week following that Sunday, Slammiversary, and then, of course, following that Sunday, The Forbidden Door, and so much more, too. As always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. There are just fans with own opinions for this passion we all truly share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. And I will see you all over the place, in and out of YouTube, right here, or even on the Daily Slam, where me, Cairo, and or Cindy will always keep you up in all things All Elite Wrestling. It's as simple as that. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure, as well as lady.
With that said, Owen, where could they find you? What you got going?
Yeah, you can find me on my channel, Wrestling Fortune 44, where I post all my wrestling content. And I'm going to make the announcement now. I hope this can work out. After NWA Always Ready, I'm putting back the Aftershock Corner Top 5 Flop 5. We're pretty much, we look through the week of wrestling, and we pick the top 5 moments and the flop 5 moments. And it's a really lot of fun. And this time, unless I can get a guest, I'm going to be hosting my show by myself. So that way the show can get out and all that type of stuff. So that should be exciting.
I probably can be able to make it for you. I probably can make
all
it.
Right.
Can make it.
And then, we got some fun retro wrestling review series coming up this summer. A lot of them are going to be based around the hype for WWE's first NXT UK. Well, let me rephrase that. First show in the United Kingdom that WWE main roster has ever done. I almost said NXT UK, but that's that wouldn't make sense. And we have a lot of fun retros coming up. Some are going to be NXT UK, and some are going to be just regular wars that took place in the United Kingdom. So that would be fun.
We're also got some. We also got some retros. The Indie Force boys and I are going to be doing on that channel. So definitely be on the lookout for a lot of retros, a lot of fantasies, and of course this show, the rundown. So there you go.
Yeah, but hopefully we can do a rundown next week if work's not crazy. So
yeah, well, honestly, we got the rundown this week. So if we take it easy, we can take it easy. But
I'll do a video. I'll do some type of video reviewing Hell in a Cell. It could just be me just reviewing it by myself. So
Creative Hate.
Yeah, that's what it's really called. A cell is silver. I agree with Noah's sentiments. I will go last here and plug my stuff, along with Owen and Noah's stuff under some of the stuff under the FTW Productions umbrella, as well as the Jeff Meacham Network. I'm also on No DQ Review now. Check out the last 2 episodes I did with the Aaron Rift's crew. Support No DQ, say yes to it. I was on there with Virtue, Aaron, Walter Cruz, and I feel like I'm forgetting one person. Yeah.
What do you want, Jeff? Would Jeff Meacham have been another one at some point?
Jeff Meacham wasn't on. I think
he was also on there.
It was Big Baller. Big Baller was on the
Big Baller G.
Yeah, Big Baller was on the latest episode, so go check that out. YouTube.com/user/Aaron Rift. Go check me out on Weighted Youth Wrestling. YouTube.com/user/WYW Pride. It's a CAW wrestling league that I run. We're looking to do, on top of this crazy landscape, God, probably the worst time I could try to even attempt this, but we're trying to do a 52-week schedule at some point. We are actually in the recording stage progress. We actually got like 3/4 of the way done so far, so we are recording it right now. So if you want to stay tuned to that and check up on all the history, youtube.com/user/WYW Pride, as well as check me out on both Insanity Works Studios and Jay Hebert Studios. That's youtube.com/user/MetalNut1120 and youtube.com/user/JayHebertSide95, where you will see the following. You'll see content and review, which is YouTube content stuff. You'll see Jay Hebert's side of things, where I cover real-life events every now and again sometimes. You'll see Open Mic Night, where they cover the gaming industry. You'll see watch-alongs, where we review wrestling and or movies in real time, and everything in between. Wrestling with Idiocy included up to that, where Owen, Casey, and I will be doing a retrospective of the career of John Cena, 20 years, speaking of which, of John Cena. So definitely give that a watch. I hope you all enjoyed this broadcast. This has been an absolute blast. I love every one of y'all. Love wrestling. Love this sport. I love this.
There's so much to this business that we didn't even go through,
shall
and
plug
that
it.
even happened. There's only so much time you can have talking about all things wrestling.
Yeah. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. I'm going to try the outro here again and line it up. But until next time, we will see you next time on the Rundown and next time on the ATW View and December show. See you then, folks. Enjoy your week.
Take that work week off, 5 days in the bucket. Fuck it, you got a boss who's a jerk who doesn't. Throw on some Wu-Tang, bring the motherfucking ruckus. There is no pretext. We are living and we love it on a budget. Never mind, we just nudge it to the side. Give the kids a little time. We are living till we die. Focused and we hustle, but we still be getting high. No exception to the rule. Do what you do to get by. Cause I keep ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me